right now.
Yeah, we do. Vector, clearance, and all of that great stuff. How you feeling today, Yates? Yates is in for Al today.
I'm in for Al.
You ready?
Feeling good. I was clapping it up there for everybody, too, because there are a lot of humans in the radio station today.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Just letting people know for a holiday week. Some of us have worked in radio for a while. You don't typically find people hanging around the station.
I thought it would be you, me, Brian, and Tyler.
That's
I
it.
thought that's what it would be. And
ESPN LA, hands are on deck.
Everybody. We
this
got the
battle
social team
station
here.
is armed.
We got YouTube going. They're having a sales meeting right now. We got
Excited
a
about
full contingent of ESPN LA.
Correct, man. How you been?
I am fantastic.
Yeah?
I am fantastic. Look, I know it's kind of weird. It's a weird week because 4th of July is on a Tuesday. Some people are working today. Not a lot. Didn't touch the brakes coming in today. Every day should be 4th of July.
Okay.
The day before 4th of July for that. But yeah, I'm excited because it's kind of like a little mini Friday coming up.
That's right. It is a
Right?
mini Friday coming off of a Sunday, which is odd. It's like when you pop back and you've got to make up a game on the schedule, even though it got rained out 3 months ago. You just happen to be in town. I will say this, though. Speaking of scheduling and holidays, just to get this out of the way.
Yeah.
I'm big on ranking what days are best for certain holidays.
Oh, sure. I like this game.
And I have a feeling that I need to express, which is very simple. Thanksgiving is the 4th Thursday of every November, correct? Every holiday should be pinned to a moment on the calendar and not a date in the month. The 4th of July, I mean, celebrate it whenever you want, but there's no world in which you should be celebrating something that big on a Tuesday. So Halloween should be the 4th Friday of every October.
The 4th of July is the 4th
I get
of
it,
July,
but just,
not the
then
4th
eliminate the 4th of
Tuesday.
July and call it Independence Day. It's what it actually is. The date is irrelevant. You can make the Independence Day, make it
not
the
according
first,
to the calendar,
make it the
it's not.
first, I don't know, Friday of every July. You know what I'm saying?
I like it.
We'll go with the Independence Day branding.
I like where your head's at.
Halloween, 4th Friday of every October.
I'm with you because Halloween's stupid, so we can do whatever we want with that. I don't care about
I'm
that one.
even with Christmas being the 4th Sunday of every December. It's
fine.
The actual
Don't really
date
care about that
doesn't
either.
particularly matter to me. And New Year's Day, obviously, you can celebrate as you want. But this whole holiday on a Tuesday thing, we got to work this out, gang. This is weird.
I like it because you can kind of, if it lands in the middle, you can cover each side unless you forget that it comes in the middle and you forget to ask for the day off. Then all of a sudden, you got
I know.
a few
Sleep beats you
problems
to the
going
punch
there.
on that
I
one.
think
but
somebody not requested the day off, Trav. I think that's what we're getting at here.
No, I blew it. I blew it. About a week ago, Susan says to me, well, what do you want to do on the 3rd? And I said, well, I might not have asked that for that day off.
Sure.
So I reached out to Berg, and I said, hey, are we working the 3rd? He goes, well, you are. And I'm like, oh, man. Yeah, I just forgot to do it.
This has also thrown off some of my plans just because I wasn't really sure how to go about planning what I was going to do. People say, oh, yeah, I'm having a 4th thing. Well, are you having it on Tuesday? Because, I need to know that it's on Tuesday versus, I don't know, Monday.
But the assumption
I'm sure
is-
people are cooking out today, Trav.
I'm sure they are, but it's probably later in the day. I don't think they're doing the beach thing today, right? People are not.
I mean, if I
flooding
wasn't
to the
here,
beaches,
that's what I'd be doing.
But you're here is my point.
Okay,
right? So
that's true.
It's people are working, sort of, a few, or are we just suckers? Are we just here and
I think it's the latter,
got
Trav.
duped and we're the only ones
There's
here?
a large element of the latter, but there are a lot of people that are not working or a lot of industries that just decided, hey, Monday is as much of a holiday as anything. I'm trying to stimulate this economy, Travis, okay? That's what I'm trying to do. And proper holiday
not going to
placement.
work?
No, yes, because I'd be out stimulating it elsewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Local
Exactly.
bars and establishments.
Precisely. That's what I'd be doing. But yes, I'm an advocate of make holidays great again, if you will.
I'll be honest. I would not vote against your proposition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there. I kind of like that random off day in the middle of the week. I don't hate it. It kind of breaks it up because today is a day, right?
Sure.
You get to do whatever you want tomorrow. We'll talk about what we're going to do tomorrow. I'm sure
Right.
we both have some plans going on right there. And then you got a little 3-day thing on the back end. One of them's Friday, which kind of barely counts in the first place. So you got a day today, which doesn't count. You got a 2-day week, which basically doesn't count.
That's true.
Basically the entire week off.
I also think that the All-Star game should be on the 4th of July every year, but that's another
Oh, that'd be
story.
nice.
it's another story.
That'd be
Sure.
nice.
That's a different discussion.
But wouldn't it be even more sparsely watched than it already is if we put it in the middle of a holiday?
Maybe, but I don't think so. I mean,
I feel like it could become like NBA on Christmas.
yeah, that's
where
there's
since
a
everybody's
vibe.
around the
But
TV, you might as well have it
there's a
on.
difference. There's a difference.
What's
People
the-
are home on Christmas. They're in their homes on Christmas more often than not. They're in front of it. 4th of July, people are outside. People are doing things.
I guess that's
the
true.
weather's nice. You're
That's a good point.
going to the lake, the river, the beach, the mountains, whatever it is. You're outside
Yeah.
on the 4th of July. Christmas, for the vast majority, it's cold, it's gray, it's kind of crappy, so you're stuck inside anyway. Nobody's
Okay.
stuck inside.
Perhaps. I still like the idea of it being around a major American holiday. Or if you're not going to the beach, you know where you're going? Apparently, LA Convention Center. Have you seen all these people?
Packed.
Have you seen this?
I think it was like the Anime Expo or something last
Yes.
weekend.
It is
it's
like
still
day
packed now.
2 of the Anime Expo.
I think they're squatting now, right?
So
Like the
here's-
event was over the weekend.
So right. So I'm on the talk with some frequency, and I'm not into the anime world.
talk?
TikTok.
I
And
know what you meant.
know.
I'm stunned that you called
well,
it the
you know,
talk.
some of us have the slang because
Yeah, but you don't have to call it that.
I know that's why I do it though because it's just pompous enough. So
He's on the talk, guys.
I'm on the talk.
He's on the talk. I love it.
Not the tick, the talk. And so I'm scrolling through stuff last night, and I'm seeing these images of just hordes and hordes of people, and I'm like, I've been in there. I've been in there at big events.
Oh, at the convention center?
I've been in there in multiple big events. I've not seen even half that many people climbing over railways, trying to get up escalators. I was like, it made me anxious just looking at it on my phone. It was that intense and that bad.
So I pulled into the lot, I don't know, 7:30, give
Mm-hmm.
or take. And there were people in costumes in their cars just hanging out ready to go. I know what it is.
Sure.
I don't know when it opens. I don't know what it. I can't imagine it opens at 8:00 in the morning on a Monday. Probably not.
I think maybe 9.
Maybe okay.
I think maybe 9. I mean, I don't think it's that late in the day. They got stuff to do, judging by the amount of people. But
Do you just walk around and wear your costume and look at things?
no,
Like,
it's a
what do you
con.
do?
So what they have is they have different vendors. I mean, I'm presuming this is like every other con that exists. NBA con, by the way, something that's coming up. That's another discussion. They have like
that one,
different
too.
vendors who have show stuff. They have like demonstrations. They have actual people that are in these types of movies or whatever that you can go see on the side. You know, it's a celebration of a certain culture. But for those of you who've been downtown, in general, this line wrapped around. I mean, so starting from the convention center, going all the way around Crypto, all the way back, and I'm not just talking about like one person. We're talking, you know, clumps of 10. All the way down and around the entire building. I've never seen that many people down there, period, in my life.
I'm good.
Yeah. No thanks.
You know, like just that delivered without any judgment at all. I'm good.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Conference agnostic. It's not even about who they are.
100%
Oh.
good on all of it.
I mean, these people are all over LA Live, and I feel terrible for them. Can you imagine?
Why?
You get your whole get up down there like that, and you find out your whole deal's been oversold to the point that you're about to pass out in your suit.
Cooking.
Standing on the escalator.
About
and,
to have some heat.
you know? Oh, the smell alone. No, thank you.
It just opened at 10 too, so they were standing out there for a couple
Oh,
hours.
cooking. Oh,
That's the kind of pre-gaming you don't want to do.
Don't think you had to go, right? You
that
could
is brutal.
Tap out.
I mean, you know,
you
once
can
a
pull
year.
it. Oh wait, nope, done. See ya. Take the makeup off. We're
I'm
going
out.
home.
We're outta here.
We're not doing that.
Not happening.
Right? You're full dad vibes on that one. Wait, that's the line to go to where we're. Nope. We're going back. We'll do something else.
We'll do something later, right?
Yeah.
No, but it's always funny to see all the different groups that come down here downtown, and today was a special one, for sure.
Yeah.
Good luck getting out today.
I'll be-
Good luck
Trust
getting
me,
out of the
I'll
lot
get-
today.
I have multiple points of egress, right? Like there,
Fair
if
enough.
there's
You know
one
what
thing-
to
Trav's
do.
got his own exit,
If
actually.
Right.
there is one thing I am really good at, it's how to leave a thing on my terms. Okay.
Fair enough.
I'm
That
just
is your
saying
expertise.
That if they're like, hey, do you want to leave? Yeah. Where
Yeah.
do we go? Just follow me.
I got it.
I
Yeah.
got it.
I've already
I am
scoped
the
out.
Magellan of leaving
Okay.
things.
All right.
I could
That's
get
good
out of
to
there
know.
pretty good. How's your weekend?
It was good. Everything I threw the baseball a little.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Just with the friend up against the wall. What'd you do?
with the lady.
Okay.
Went to the beach, did that, but it was a little
You bring your
overcast.
glove to the beach? Aren't you
Yeah.
worried about getting it filled with sand? because it never really comes out.
Then you pour the sand out.
Never, not really.
I don't mind it, buddy. I live at the beach. I mean,
I don't like that idea.
It does irritate my hands a little bit, but I don't mind that. It's okay. I got good lotion, so that works out. Through there a little bit. What else did I do? Not much. Just been watching a lot of baseball. The Royals sticking it to the Dodgers. Not great, Bob, on that front.
No. Look, they're flaw. It's weird, and we'll spend some time on this today.
Sure.
We'll probably spend a lot of time on this today. They're, for the first time in multiple seasons, they have multiple flaws.
Yeah.
Right? And that's Dodger fans, my hand in the air, have become incredibly spoiled. This is how most teams operate. You have, you got your finger in the dam over here, and then another leak, you got to put your finger over here, and eventually you start to run out of fingers.
It's called running a baseball team.
Right. They've had so many years in a row, last year in particular, where they had so much talent and so much depth that even when some of that talent would go down or underperform, you just slide a new guy in there. You really barely even knew guys were missing. Mm-hmm. This is the first time you still have a ton of talent, but once that talent starts to peel off, your depth was either not good enough or they started to drop down too. They went on a road trip to Colorado and Kansas City to play 6 games. Colorado's the worst team in the National League. Kansas City's the second worst team in the American League. Only the Oakland A's are worse. They came home 3-3. And we're kind of lucky to do so.
And that's the interesting thing about, I think, how a lot of Dodger fans have looked at this. It's not just what's not going on with the team. Other teams are pretty good. It's not like they're still cruising in first like they used to do. It used to be, okay, well, they got some problems. But there's, other teams across the league, as these last 5 years have gone in Major League Baseball, have kind of figured out how to get good. This competitive advantage beyond talent and in terms of roster construction isn't quite there the same way it used to be.
Not the way it has been in the previous seasons. I still think it's there. They've had a disproportionate amount of bad luck when it comes to injuries. They've missed, somebody said, I was listening to the game yesterday, they've missed like 700 days of starting
games or whatever,
times, right? Which is by far the most in the league. A lot of it has happened in the pitching staff. That Clayton Kershaw, up until today, really has been your go-to guy, your workhorse.
Minor miracle.
Major miracle.
Okay.
Right? I mean, because
I guess that's
usually
true.
by now he's already missed some time, 3 or 4 weeks, and then you're getting ready to maybe miss a little more time in early to mid August, and then you bring him back for the stretch, which, by the way, I'm fully in support of.
No problems
no problem
here.
at all.
Right.
But here we are, the 4th of July, and he was supposed to pitch today. He probably will not. They haven't, at least as of a couple hours ago.
He's taking a little extendo clip, Alan Sliwa style All-Star break is what he's doing.
Did you see what happened to Slee?
No.
Okay, so Slee had this game circled on his calendar for the last couple of weeks, right? Padres and Angels tonight at Petco.
Okay.
Tonight was supposed to be Ohtani night.
Right.
It's not.
Why not?
They
Scratched
scrubbed him and pushed him back, and it's Baria tonight.
So he's going.
So he's going
you know
to see
You deserve that,
Baria
Slee.
pitch
You deserve
tonight.
that. I hope you're watching on the stream right now. You deserve that.
Snell versus Baria, Padres and Angels. It's like this
Not quite
is
the matchup you want.
Buyer beware, right?
Yeah,
Especially
no, for
when
sure.
it comes to pitching, they mess it up.
It should be good, though. I mean, it should be good from a Padres perspective. Snell's been on fire.
We like
so
Snell.
hopefully-
We like Blake Snell.
Hopefully he
pitched
gets a
well.
good Padres game.
That team's a hot mess. They're absolutely a mess. Clayton Kershaw made the All-Star team. Will Smith made the All-Star team. You're going to go to Seattle, right?
I will be there, sir.
I need to hear the rundown. I'm sure there's a lot of things going on that you're going to do there that I'm going to judge, both positively and negatively. We'll get into it next. It's Trav and Slee. Yates is in for Slee on 710 ESPN.
The most followed sports radio station in America.
710 ESPN.
At ESPN Los Angeles on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch.
LA's mega sports station.
710 ESPN. For the ones who know.
Here's Alan Sliwa,
Oh, but okay. Did you have the little tiger? Remember the tiger? Le Tigre?
Travis, and Sliwa.
On 710 ESPN.
So this goes back to what we were talking about a second ago, Yates. Yates is in for Sleet today about taking – you want to put a holiday on the Monday or the Friday.
Sure.
Right? That's
the
basically what we're
observed
talking about.
holiday should be at a time when you
Like
can
President's Day.
extend your – thank you.
Yeah.
And when you can extend your weekend to some degree. Correct.
President's Day, Thanksgiving, it's
Right.
in this spot, not
That's
on this day. It's
correct.
in this spot.
You're on point.
So John in Huntington Beach writes, I absolutely screwed myself and didn't ask for the 5th off, meeting starting at 8 o'clock that morning.
Yep.
Okay, so here's my question. You want the day before the holiday or you want the day after the holiday?
Okay, well, see, that depends on what day. Okay. I think if it won't matter if you know what the day is. That's the thing.
It does matter.
You have a moving target. Okay, so if we know you have Monday off.
The day after is more, like if you had to pick one, right? The day after is better. Then we can really go enjoy the holiday, kind of recuperate a little bit post-holiday, and then go in the next day and you're ready to go.
I see what you're saying, but I think what you're asking in the context of my theory is would I prefer to be on a Friday or a Monday? I prefer a Monday. Because Friday is good enough as is. Having a Monday off is far more useful to my psychology than having a Friday off. As you said, Friday's kind of a throwaway day anyway half the time.
But then you need your Sunday is... You still can't enjoy the Monday holiday because you still got to show up to work on Tuesday.
Okay, but that's fine. I'd rather have Monday as a recovery day than Sunday.
But what if the parties are on the Monday, right? Like the 4th of July.
But typically,
Independence Day is now on Monday.
Typically,
okay?
Right, but that's when it's observed. I mean, I would likely be if it were me. If the holiday is observed on a Monday, I'm partying on Sunday. I'm just taking the Monday as a day off. I'm not using it as my bang-up day. That's a recovery day.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not starting
I need the
on that
bang-up
day.
day after the event.
Oh.
For instance, tomorrow, on
Right.
4th of July, not Independence Day as
Sure.
you're offering, but the actual 4th day of the month of July.
Okay.
We got invited, some friends of ours have a boat. And we're going to go down to the boat in Dana Point Harbor and hang out and, maybe have a couple of beers, have some hot dogs.
Shockingly
watch the
similar
boats go
plan to
by.
my own.
Okay. I would like to be able to enjoy my boat day to its full capacity, but knowing that I have the 5th of July waiting for me with a 5:30 wake-up call, the 4th of July will be less enthusiastic. I will not celebrate our independence quite as enthusiastically if I would otherwise.
Fair enough. But here's the thing. Had you planned correctly and had you taken today off, perhaps you could have made your boating adventures today.
But it's not my party to throw. It's the 4th
well,
of July
get a boat,
party.
bro. I mean, what do you want me to do?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Get a boat, bro.
The best
There it
is
There it
somebody that has the boat.
Yes.
Right? I don't have to
You don't
clean
want
it.
the boat.
I don't have to prep it.
You don't want the boat. You
anything.
never want the boat.
Are you a boat guy?
I'm not a boat guy. I may or may not have done a couple things on a couple boats in the last year. That's a different discussion. But Tuesday, on the 4th, I will be attending a boat-related situation, meaning there will be people on the boat. There will also be people on the dock who are hanging around.
The boat will not leave the slip?
The boat will not leave the slip,
Okay.
exactly, which
Yeah.
is also the best time to be on a boat
of course
when
it
you're
is.
simply on a non-moving boat as opposed to one
Definitely
that,
the safest.
I don't know, might be
Yeah.
going 20,000 leagues under the sea. That's just
What
a
made you
personal
think of
thought. Right. So I'll be at a
Just
situation
make sure the boat isn't run by an Xbox
like that.
controller.
Thank God. I'll be in a situation like that, and actually, my plan is to get out of Dodge before the actual fireworks start. So, yeah, it'll be some revelry during the day. But once the sun goes down and we get to that 9 o'clock period where the fireworks start going, I would like to be making my plan of egress, as you say, to get back home. Not that I have a 5:30 a.m. wake-up call, but I don't want to lose a whole other day that's a real work day.
Can I ask a question that's been bothering me for a while?
What's that?
And I'm trying not to be insensitive. It will come across as insensitive, and I guess it actually is insensitive,
Okay.
but I'm going to ask anyway.
What's that?
You're getting on that submersible that had the disaster a while ago.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked.
Okay.
I'm so glad you
You
asked.
get in there, and you see that the entire operation is run with an Xbox controller.
I'm out.
Are you not like, no, hell, I
out.
am gone.
I'm out.
You're going to drive that thing with that? Really?
There are
Is
so many
that not
questions.
the deal breaker right on the spot? Like, I thought that was a joke. No, out.
There are a lot of deal breakers on the spot. Number one, the $250K entry fee.
Okay, assume you're a billionaire and it's
Sure.
like writing a $20 check.
The thing is, I'm going to assume, I'll take it a step further. I'm going to assume you're trying to kill me. Like, if I get into a submersible and that's the setup, I'm assuming that this is a death wish. Like, that you've got some weird fetish towards doing things that are a little too dangerous for me. That's obvious, but like if that's the operation, no way, no how. I'm knocking people down with my fists to get out of that vehicle. Not even close.
I was
Not
listening
even close.
To the Daily after the accident happened. And this guy comes on, he's talking about it. So, well, it's actually run by and I thought it was a euphemism. I thought it was a turn of phrase, like a low-tech way to drive this thing. But it turns out it actually was exactly that.
I mean, you could not pay me enough money.
Bad deal.
To do something like that.
How much attention did you pay to NBA free agency this weekend?
A little bit. I am at the stage of my life as a person that covers sports as you do where the NBA's transactional elements are interesting only to a point for me. The Lakers, okay, we're here, home of the Lakers. I'll get into that.
Sure.
You think I'm concerned about the interstitial moves that the Knicks are doing or what's happening with some guy in the second round versus cash considerations for another guy in 2036?
No,
I can't do that.
No.
I can't do that at all.
That's for Sliwa and Ireland.
But that quickly overshadows a lot of the rest of the league. So that makes it difficult for me. The time from the draft to free agency, I'm like, all right, just tell me when the rosters are settled, and then we can start talking about basketball.
I want to know where James Harden's going to land. I want to know where Damian Lillard. Yeah, I do, because I want to know which team is going to be bummed out that they got James Harden 6 months from now. Right?
Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah, I want.
So
to
you're
know
more into that side of it than I am.
It's my favorite part of the NBA. It's just seeing these terrible ideas that they talk themselves. No, James Harden will be different for us. Will he? Really?
So we're at a point where there's a turnover in talent in the league where these older guys that because they got max deals early, because they were superstars early in their careers, their names still have cachet on that transactional market. But in reality, I'm not sure how much most of these guys are really affecting teams in terms of how they're constructed. Look at the last team that won it. They don't have anybody that you would consider a superstar, and they built it that way.
Look at the last 3 teams that have won it, right? You're talking about Denver most recently.
Yeah.
So we just saw that. We know that that's almost entirely homegrown and very specifically bolstered with outside talent. They're talking KCPs of the world that are not, max dollar guys.
Nope.
Good players, but they're much more identifiable as role players. Go back the year before that. It was Golden State. That's about as homegrown as you're ever going to find.
Built from the ground up.
Right? Year before that, Milwaukee. Okay? It's Giannis and a guy that Middleton added and Holiday added. These are additive players that are not, huge free agent names.
Totally agree.
The one that kind of is out is LeBron and AD the year before that. That's the one that's
the outlier.
That's exactly right. That's the outlier, not the formula.
And so when you're telling me about, Dame could go here, Harden could go, okay, great. Let's see one of those guys that's never won anything show up to a franchise that hasn't won anything recently anyway and just see if all of a sudden they turn into the Monstars. Not going to happen in my opinion. And I'm not saying that I'm knocking the talent of anybody. I do think that there are certain constructions
that
can work.
Feels far different to me than a guy like Harden. Feels far different than a Westbrook. Feels different than some of those other, like Westbrook and Harden. They're Hall of Fame players. They're big names. They're sexy names. But Lillard is a killer. Right, Lillard is one of these guys that I think if you put him with Jimmy Butler and Bam, that's with Heat culture, that's a real thing.
Okay, we're just assuming that that's all just going to blend.
It might not.
Because we like it. Like Dame Lillard was a killer when he was playing in Portland with relatively low stakes, and he was the only guy. That's a different discussion when guys like Jimmy Butler walk into the room.
You know what I mean? I don't think he's going to get freaked out.
I don't think
by
this
stakes.
is a knock on who Dame Lillard is. Let's be clear about that. I just think that the rest of the league has developed to the point that there's no way in the world, I'm just assuming, that one big-name guy with another big-name guy plus a third guy is making you a good team.
I think it matters. I think it matters which guy it is. It can't just be any. Lillard, I think,
you believe in Dame?
Yes.
Okay.
I believe in what he does. I believe in what's in here and in his heart.
That dog in him.
I believe what's in his brain. I believe that he is a serious individual that went through this for a long time, tried as best as he could to let his bosses try to build something around him, and he finally like, you know what, I'm running out of time. I still have some good time left, but I got to make this. This is not my feelings got hurt. This is not somebody else got more money. This is I did everything I could, and you guys didn't do it for me. I got to move on.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I
Do you not look at him like that?
It's not that I don't look at him like that. I just don't know that there's a team that has the combination of stuff that the Heat are probably the best option, but I still don't know that they kind of overachieved anyway. There are teams in the Eastern Conference alone that should probably be better than the Heat on paper right now. And so,
Does that not make it more appealing?
Nice addition. I mean, that's on him. Nice addition, but I don't think that suddenly they become, just because they made a couple runs, and I'm not knocking anything about the Heat. They put together one of the most tremendous runs for a team that is not superstar laden of any I can think of in the last 10 years. But that doesn't mean that I think that adding a star all of a sudden means everything comes together. I just don't. With the rest of the competition in the league, it's just a little too hard to do that and play that kind of NBA 2K ball.
And then, of course, you got the Lakers, who did the opposite of that, right? They for the first time.
Thankfully.
Thank you, right?
Somebody's been listening.
I have been saying this for a long time, that we got to match what they did over there. We got to get the third guy. This makes, for the first time, really, since they won the championship in the bubble, every move that they've made seems to not only make sense individually, but they make sense in the structure of what they all mean together.
The timeline,
right?
yes.
That this is, and they're set up for a spot now where going into this season and beyond, they have optionality. They're able to trade a player like D'Angelo Russell, if that's in fact what they need to do. They're able to add a guy here. They're able to stick with this. They give, for the longest time, it was, if Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, and Anthony Davis doesn't work, we're dead in the water. And they were.
Yep.
And this is not that at all. Whether it's Gabe Vincent, 3 years, $33 million. It's a relatively low NBA
That is
number.
a reasonable contract.
He plays defense. He competes like crazy. I saw somewhere, if you can play for Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra in Heat culture, you can play for anybody.
Okay.
Right? So I like that.
A lot of Heat culture references here, Tyler. Have you heard of this? I mean, you're big on Spo's operation and
it's
Pat
not
Riley.
Even Spo. It's I like guys that are not afraid to grind.
Yeah.
And if you can't grind, you don't survive there.
That's fair.
Right? Like, I've heard Michael Thompson talk about when he was playing for Pat Riley, and they knock out their opponent. They're waiting for their next one. They're doing 3-hour practices.
Conditioning is a
killing each
factor
other.
at all times
Right?
with them. Yes.
I like guys that come from that.
I'll give you that.
I like guys that come from that. You go out and you re-sign Rui. You re-sign Austin Reeves. You do all of the things that just make sense.
Now, here's
as
the
opposed to Kyrie, Dame, all of Harden, all of these names that you can't tell me that 2-3 years ago they wouldn't have been clearing the decks to try to get one of those.
You're
things.
right. And Sliwa would have been the first guy on the ship telling people that they need to bring him in. But what I'm saying is this: I've been yelling about the continuity forever, but I'm just glad they picked the right guys to be contiguous with. Right. Rui and Reeves had to stay. That, like, because if for no other reason than their talent, for an indication of what is going on in your franchise, if those guys don't want to stay after the run that they made here. I get money's a factor, and I get that some guys want to be stars. But if you're going to tell me on one end, Laker Nation, that, everybody wants to come here because it's the Lakers, well, that hadn't been happening recently.
No.
Not remotely.
No.
So show me what it is. This is a good indication in that direction. There's a little bit of a culture that people want to be around. People aren't just showing up to get their money because they're LeBron's friends. That has been a big element of what happened with this franchise, and I don't knock anybody for that. But the continuity is not just about doing it for the sake of doing it. It's about who and why, and it appears to be better this offseason rather than it has in previous years.
And I think we got the answer to a question that we've been asking for a few years that we really didn't know prior to these last maybe 2 months. We'll do that next. It's Trav and Slee, 710 ESPN. Yates in for Slee. We got Ask Yates coming up in about 15 minutes. You guys are doing a good job on that. Stick around. Hey, if you're hurt in an accident, you need to know that not all personal injury attorneys are created the same. The reason you need to know that is because they are not. Sweet James has been awarded Best Attorneys in America. Personal injury, it's what they do all day, every day. It's the only thing they do. So if you're hurt in a car accident, motorcycle accident, dog bite, truck accident, whatever it may be, call the accident attorneys at Sweet James. You do not want to take on the insurance companies by yourself. You're going to need someone to advocate for you. And that's why you call Sweet James Accident Attorneys, because the firm that you choose absolutely matters. You want that firm like Sweet James that has experience, that has a winning record helping injured victims get the medical care that they need with life-changing settlements. Over $1 billion in settlements in Sweet James's nearly 20-year career. They collect more in a year than most firms do in their entire lifetime. So if you're hurt in an accident, call Sweet James at 1-800-9-MILLION. That number again is 1-800-9-MILLION. Easy to remember. 1-800-9-00-00. 1-800-9million, and, of course, sweetjames.com.
You never have to miss a moment of LA's mega sports station. .710 ESPN.
Then everybody be
Yates is in for Slee today. Slee thought he was going to go see Ohtani pitch against his Padres tonight, but instead it's Bira.
The force is not strong with Slee, I see. That was not a good foresight on that.
I was excited for him.
Yeah,
to get to see.
Has he
Ohtani.
never seen Shohani with his eyeballs?
Not on the mound.
Okay.
I don't think
okay.
I don't think
Yeah,
he's seen
yeah.
him on the mound.
Yeah.
So they pushed him back a day, and we'll see.
If you've never seen him in person, he is a mountain of a man.
Unbelievable.
Like, don't get it twisted. He is a large, muscular, gorgeous, definitive ambassador in the handsome man community. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Love him.
There's nothing about him that isn't like, yeah, I'm into that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he
Right.
hits bombs.
Yeah.
He runs real fast. He's tall. He's handsome. He seems to be a really good teammate.
Yep.
There's nothing about him that isn't like, yeah, I'd really like to have him on my
Nothing
team.
not to like. It's fantastic.
Okay. We could spend the entire day on Ohtani, and maybe we will.
True.
Of all of the things that he brings to the table, and these guys have heard me say this. I'm sure you've heard me say it a lot, but I'm going to beat this horse until it's dust. He's the fastest runner in the league.
He's the best base runner in the league.
And there's a difference between being like Freddie Freeman is a great base runner.
Not that fast.
He's not fast,
Yeah.
but he knows angles. He knows all these things. Shohei Ohtani is both a great base runner and super fast. He leads the league in home runs. He leads the league in OPS. He leads the league in triples. You're not supposed to be Ricky Henderson and Aaron Judge.
No.
You're not supposed to do that.
And he's part of that group of guys, too, like Ellie for the Reds, where you're like, who are these body types who are running around? Like, you should be running the 800 at the Olympics in a couple years. Forget about running first to third against the daggone Rockies. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. It's like, wow. And the reason that interests me is because we talk about this a lot. Ohtani is one of one. That's never, ever changing. But at certain levels of the game, look like a guy like Jack who plays for Florida. Like, if a guy can kind of get there on both ends and he's got a body type that allows him to do more than just hit bombs and throw fastballs, you're like, oh, the guy can get some runs too.
Yeah.
Like, we might see more people moving toward it. They're never going to be Ohtani. But at certain levels of the game, we've talked about this before. Yeah, if you can hit, you can hit. But you're trying to tell me that I can't get some guy that can do three things pretty well and be a guy on my team at like say college or the minor league level?
That Ohtani, to your point, as 101, Ohtani is both Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge.
Right.
He's the best at both of those things. Okay, never mind that. Is there a guy out there that is Chris Taylor and Tony Gonsolin?
Sure.
Right?
Right.
Let's
Exactly.
put those two guys
Exactly.
together.
And why would that not be worth your while at some point, potentially?
If you have Tony Gonsolin and Chris Taylor on your team and you could have one guy that covers both of those, of course they're valuable.
You take it. And I think that there is something, this has always been my long-term question about what Ohtani's presence in the bigs is going to be. He can break every record in the world. The question is anybody else going to try to be like him? Think of a Steph Curry, for example. First guy to win unanimous MVP in the NBA. Next thing you know, you go to a court, every kid on the court is playing like Steph Curry. I understand that at the lower levels of baseball, that's typically a thing you do. Your shortstop's your pitcher. He's your best player. As you get on up through the
third,
system.
plays center field
sure.
one day.
Right. As you get up onto the system, that changes as much. But, like, and I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on youth baseball talk here, but
look at my face.
I know. I mean, this is that sound you heard is millions of viewers just completely turning off their YouTubes. No, but what I'm saying is, like, if you're a coach, you might give a guy a shot in a place that you didn't. Some of these guys that can go two ways, you say there might be more value here than I thought otherwise because the Shohei model is something I've seen work with my eyes.
So the Shohei thing is put that aside. That is literally Haley's comment. It's not coming back again for a very, very long time. But you mentioned him a second ago. Talk about L.A. De La Cruz. Talk about O'Neal Cruz in Pittsburgh, right? And
right.
I want to put all three of those guys in the same boat, which is fast forward 30 years, 40 years, whatever it is. Is that what baseball players look like?
Right.
That they're all 6'6" and lean and strong and fast because for a long look around right now, right? The difference in body type between Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman is opposite ends of the spectrum. One's
Correct.
big, strong guy. The other guy's an incredibly athletic, smaller guy, lean. These guys are like video game characters. Ohtani is 6'5" and jacked and fast. O'Neal Cruz is, what is he, 6'7" and plays short?
Yeah, he's taller than Ohtani, yeah.
And you got Ellie De La Cruz. I don't even know what that dude is. Like, you know what I mean? And so there's always Ripken was the first really big shortstop.
A-Rod came along. And
here comes A-Rod. Here comes Jeter. Here comes these guys that are not these, they're not Mark
they're not
Belanger
light hit.
anymore.
They're not light hitting flaquitos,
Right.
right. You don't have, I don't know, Mike Bordick or whatever.
So are we pulling guys off the NFL field? Are we pulling guys out of the NBA to play baseball now that we're willing to say, hey, no, Ellie De La Cruz can play shortstop? Why wouldn't he?
Again, this is what the real development of the game is going to be globally when we think about how this stays alive. Is if people that come from different walks of life, sporting wise, because that's what it used to be like, guys. Guys weren't just only baseball specialists who made the big leagues. Dudes could do all sorts of things. The late Vida Blue, who I'm thinking about right now, great football player, could have played wherever. Just happened to have a cannon arm.
Dave Winfield.
Right, and he's more of a megastar guy. Tony Gwynn as well, but like. I do think there's something to be said for that. I mean, look at Giannis right now versus, I don't know, Bill Russell, just in body type. You look at those guys, you're like, whoa, that's what basketball players are like now? I do think there is an evolution element that is going to be a part of what Ohtani brings to the game that I think is fantastic and is going to show up in more places than just on the mound and at the plate.
You wonder if they try a bunch of guys. And by you understand what I mean by a bunch.
Yeah.
I mean a handful or two.
Right.
A handful of guys that, all right, we're going to give you a chance to do this. Because John Olerud might have had a chance to do this back in the day.
Sure.
Jake Cronenworth for the Padres is another guy that has probably big league caliber stuff on the mound.
If he pitched every day, he would.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you start to do it? And if it doesn't work at a level that is at least Chris Taylor, Tony Gonsolin combo.
Okay.
And Ohtani is literally the outlier. Does it come and go? That it's like Steph Curry showed up.
That's a good question.
Everyone else starts shooting 30-footers, but nobody's making them. Because when Steph Curry starts taking them, Trae Young says, I'm going to take a few. Trae Young makes enough.
He makes
Dame
enough.
Lillard makes enough of them. That all of a sudden Kevin Durant's like, I can jack a 30-foot. Nobody's going to take. Okay, cool. I'll take one too. There's enough guys that could do it. Not exactly like Steph, but a poor man's version thereof. If no one can even get to the major league
the Mendoza
average
line
version of that, do we pull the plug on it altogether and Ohtani becomes even more absurd?
It's a good question. Jack Caglione is his name. He plays for Florida. The guy was hitting yams, and he's a left-handed pitcher who starts. Florida was in the finals of the College World Series. Just saying. There are levels where this can be successful, and these levels are getting higher as we continue on down the line because I think people just understand a little bit more. This isn't as crazy as it looks, even if Shohei Ohtani is unlike anything we've ever seen.
And I think to take it a step further with the two-way players is that organizations have never really demonstrated that this is something that they've been willing to accept and embrace. And I think the fact that the Angels have done it with success will give other organizations an opportunity to also embrace it. And they might end up pushing players that they typically wouldn't, who come up from high school, who come up from college, having demonstrated that they can have success both on the mound, both in the outfield.
One of two things with that in mind, Tyler. You got to have an organization that's not competitive right now and is very patient. To let it happen. Like, let me pick the Royals. Okay,
the Nationals.
The Royals and Nationals have a guy that look. This is we're going to let this go and see what happens. Because the Dodgers can't do it on the fly. The Giants can't do it on the fly. You have to. The Yankees can't do it on the fly.
No.
We just don't have the runway to see if this is going to work or not. You're going to have the bad teams are kind of going to have to be the lab for whether or not this works.
Good point. And you got to have a manager. I know that's the next thing you were going to say. That's willing to get out of his own mold of nonsense and accept that that's something that he can deal with on his roster.
Okay. How do I want to say this? I know managers are important. Okay.
Yeah.
I think. Maybe.
Okay.
To your point about you got to have a manager. I don't think it's I think it's this
maybe
guy.
the GM.
I think it's the GM, the
or
team
the
president,
owner,
or the owner. This says, no, we're going to do this because the days of Tommy Lasorda and Earl Weaver and these guys saying, well, my gut, I just knew he was going to. It's a math problem. It's this giant math problem that guy can do two things is better than a guy that can do one thing.
Agreed. That's a good question. I mean, I think that is changing. That particular position is changing faster than the managerial position is. So
the GM spot,
in terms of mindsets. I mean, you look at the team right here, the Dodgers.
Well, but they're hiring guys that'll implement the plan, not guys that are air quote baseball
right,
guys.
And that's where you probably have a better shot at that happening. So yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting discussion. Like I said, seeing this guy they call Jotani in Omaha this year, I was like, oh. This is
don't
like
call
a
him that.
thing. I'm not calling him
that.
No, I know
you're
referring to him as that. Yes.
Nobody should be anything Tawny.
Right.
Just, nothing Tawny on anything.
We're not going Watergate with this and just throwing dates
two cool
on.
sandwiches. It's not deli Tawny, right? No, nobody's a Tawny.
Right.
Only he is a Tawny.
Please do not continue that. But what I'm saying is that we're seeing it at levels that are less and less gimmicky as the years go on. And I don't necessarily know if that's specifically the Ohtani effect, but I'm willing to give him the credit.
Ask Yates coming up next. It's Travis Slee. Yates is in for Slee on 710 ESPN.
Monday, July 3rd. Look at this, a little live taste, because I heard CY's here. And you don't see me in a hat in the office.
Not frequently.
Hat and a collared shirt. This is a real dad. This is dad coach look.
You ready?
Right here. This is big time travel ball after the game look.
I am big on the dress shirt, sleeves rolled up with shorts. So I will be taking these
Good
jeans.
look.
When I get to an afternoon barbecue this afternoon in the valley, I'll be taking the denim off, and they'll be on social media. I've got special flag shorts Slide those on with flip-flops, cigar, sunglasses. Bam!
Stars on one side, stripes on the other.
Yes,
shorts?
indeed.
Is that what they
wow.
are?
Yeah.
One per pant. So I would do that same look, but with sweat shorts. It's the same deal.
His look is the
Same
sweat
deal.
shorts, and he can
Yes.
pull that off. For me, it just looks like, hey, why is that fat guy wearing sweat shorts? By the way, it is time for Ask. It should say be Ask CY, but of course you screwed up the branding.
Well,
Ask Yates.
That's my brand, is to screw up the branding.
That's okay. Presented by our friends at Harrah's Resort SoCal. I don't have copy. So they're a great place. Go to harrahsresortsocal.com. I think that's correct.
That's right.
By the way, tomorrow, if we don't speak before 4th of July, how many dogs you taking down?
Glizzies.
Glissies. How
The
many
glizzy
glissies?
count.
Over under 2.5.
That's it?
Yeah. 3 hot dogs is a lot.
I think
of hot dogs.
between today and tomorrow, I'm going for a full pack.
8?
No, 7. Hebrew Nationals.
Oh, that's
7.
true. Oh, yeah, 'cause they line them all up.
Yeah.
They don't double stack.
And I think Costco's the only one that still does 7. I think if you go to grocery store, Hebrew National,
get the
that's
8?
6.
Oh, they go down.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a nod. It's like a baker's
We're
half dozen.
we
if
got a
you will.
little 4th of July boat trip planned for
Are you
tomorrow.
going to put Yacht Rock on?
It's not my boat, so
Are you gonna
whoever
be the captain?
captain of the boat
Oh,
is,
you're
it's
not
up
the
to them.
captain.
I'm not the captain.
Oh.
I am not the captain. My
The
friend
gli-
Bob is the
The
captain.
glizzies in the boats can be.
I did it once
dicey
in
affair.
Havasu, and I fell. Somebody pushed me, but I held that hot dog off. That hot dog survived, and yes, you're right. I ate it while in the water.
I love it. I love it. What do we got questions?
You
Russ?
ready? How
Yes.
about this one? This is Vice President of the Handsome Man community.
Shouts to Los, by the way.
Yes, Los writes, Prime CY faces Prime Trav. 0 for 3, 1 for 3, 2 for 3, or 3 for 3.
I can tell you exactly how this AB would go. I would step into the
this
box.
is 3 ABs.
I would step into the no. Oh, okay. Well, we'll say the first AB because this is all that really matters. I'm not going to talk a whole game. I'd step into the box. You give one of those sort of offerats the first one. Trav throws to get me over. As soon as Trav goes off speed, I'm going with a massive hack designed as a defensive cut. Next fastball I get, I'm laying down a bunt and I'm beating him the first. That's exactly how that would happen.
That's a good strategy.
Precisely how
That's a good
that would
strategy.
be my plate approach.
Well,
you like that, Trav?
If you did that, I know what would happen in the second at bat.
I'm probably getting ear hold, but I can live with that. Because that is then 2 for 2 on base. That's how I would approach that one. That's a good question, Louis. I like that one.
All right, so Beto and Whittier, shout out Beto and Whittier, wants to know Wilson, Rawlings, Mizuno, or something else. What are you snagging, grabbing, or stabbing with?
This is an ode to my favorite game I play on Twitter, which, by the way, might go away because that microblogging site is in the dumps. Snag, grab, or stab. Right now, I'm rocking one from my man Mike Sacco, but I'd probably go with the A2000. I'm still on that. Heart of the Hide is also a favorite.
You got a custom? Is that right?
Yeah, I got multiple customs, buddy.
Oh, okay.
One of
Your
my
boy, the big
favorite
CY.
things
Come on
was right before the softball game last
Yes.
year, you sent me a text. You're like, hey, let me see the glove situation you got going on in your house. I've never gotten a text that I was more happy about in my
He was
entire
so
life.
fired up. Multiple angles.
Oh, yeah.
They were all sorts
Lined
of
up on the dining room table. It looked like I was running a Dick's out of my kitchen.
Fantastic.
It was
It was
I
great.
was so thrilled for this.
At this point, though, the gloves. I mean, look, I like gloves based on how they look. I'm not playing enough for it to really matter. So,
I'm a traditionalist with this. I like black gloves. I like tan gloves. I don't like when we get into those custom hybrid ones. I can deal with a little blue on a glove. Don't like red. I'm very specific about
my
some of this
feelings have
stuff.
changed on this drastically, and it's not even my own play. It's been seeing other players, and honestly, it's been softball players like at the NCAA level. These girls who are out there playing, they got swag for days, and their gloves look amazing, and that's what put me onto it. The Instagramming of the world has very much changed my mind on what my traditional glove sense is. Same honestly goes for cleats as well.
A black A2000 is impossible.
You got to assume that guy's a good player if he's got one.
It's
Have to
absolutely
assume. Yes.
impossible to break. All right, here's another one. This goes back with your opening monologue from today.
Okay.
If you could designate a new holiday, what holiday would you create and what month would it appear on the calendar?
A new holiday.
Let's assume this is a secular thing.
Yeah,
It's the
sure.
Yates Day.
That's a tough one. We might have to return to that. That's actually a really tough question. It would probably be, It would definitely be something baseball related, and it might actually be opening day. Like
I think opening day should absolutely be a holiday.
might be where I go with that. I probably feel more strongly about opening day than I do about the All-Star game being on.
Here's why
the other
that's
one
a
might
good
be
answer.
quickly. The other one might be Super Bowl Saturday.
Super Bowl Saturday is a good idea, and the Monday after the Super Bowl weekend is a good idea.
Sure, same
but
difference.
By the way, you and I are still working that day anyway,
Right.
So it's not like we get the day off. We're
Right.
like, see you on Tuesday. The
Right.
Super Bow's 3 days old. We're not
No.
doing that.
No.
Right? Your answer, opening day, I'll sign off on that.
Mm-hmm.
But here's why I like it in particular. You need another thing in the spring.
Yeah.
The winter is covered. The summer is covered. The fall, we're kind of getting into some things, and I'm okay with the way that the fall. The spring basically has like Easter break, right?
That's
like
true.
That's kind of the only thing cooking in the spring. We need one more thing in the
I'll
spring.
tell you what I could also do. I could cut St. Patrick's Day yesterday.
Yep.
That has
Big time.
outgrown the necessity for my existence. I mean, it is so low on the drinking holidays power rankings. You get nothing but slobs.
It goes right next to the other one for the same reasons. New Year's Eve.
Yep. Same deal.
It's amateur night.
Right. What are we doing?
It's for people that don't know how to go have a good time on a normal Friday.
So you dress up like a goofball and you get plastered
And
and
you
act
drink
like
green
it's your
beer
history.
and you go
No, it's
nuts.
not. I went to a college that strongly celebrated this too. It was great up until I was about 25. And then I was like, this is the worst thing every year.
All right,
every
we're
time.
borderline get off my lawn. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
we
move on
are.
to the next
We
one.
are.
I want to get
We are.
altered on my terms, not on some random setup.
That nobody knows the history of anyway.
All right, so Rich A wants to know, Yates, what's the best food item you've had at any major league baseball park, and what was the food, and what park was
Pretty
it?
good segue right here. Back when I used to go to Nats games and cover that team a lot, Ben's Chili Bowl, Hard Times Cafe used to make a nice veggie nacho. It had chili on it, but it was veggie based chili, and it was really good. And it wasn't some overbearing gut buster situation. It was just a good snack. Last year, I went to T-Mobile Park in Seattle, and I got wonton soup that was like delicious. They have like a full-blown Chinese restaurant in there, and it was an 18-inning game, Travis.
Did you eat it in your seat?
Yeah, well, my seat was in the press box, but like they had like legitimately good food, sushi, and all that. And I'm not one of those people that's afraid of like
This is a wave that's happening in ballparks.
I'm not
they're
afraid
bringing
of
in
fresh
like gourmet food.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not
I'll
afraid
eat it there.
That's fine. You want to eat sushi at the ballpark, whatever. I'm not no judgment here. All ballpark food. I love going to ball games. You know I like to eat. It's all kind of mid.
That's true.
It's all just pretty mid. There's nothing that I've ever had at a ballpark that was awesome. It's like, yeah, that's okay.
Seattle,
and that's the bar.
Seattle, difference in quality. They used to have a nice poke bowl, by the way, at Dodger Stadium as well. They got rid of that.
They did.
One year, and
I was looking for it the last time I went there, and it wasn't there.
This has happened to me.
They replaced it with that Flamin' Hot place.
Correct.
What is that about, man?
Don't ask me, buddy. I do not know. This upset me very much.
I'm going to make a call.
3 years ago.
Get a petition.
Press
going.
a button. Right.
Here we go. Kind of together. Big E has hashtag Ask Yates. What's the best stadium giveaway? I assume he means like your bobblehead, your blanket, your helmet night, all that kind of stuff.
That's tough. See, I don't go for giveaways. I mean, I got bobbleheads are good. I got that Baby Yoda hat at Dodger Stadium earlier this year. That was good.
The beanie, right?
The beanie with the ears on it. That was fun. The best one, I'll just say it this way. The best one I've seen in some time was the Outcast bobblehead that had both of the brothers from the group in a lowrider that like looked like their video. Atlanta did.
Okay.
Yeah, and they were both there, and they both threw out and Big Boy threw out the first pitch. It's one of the cooler looking trinkets I've seen out of a ballpark in a long time. If you haven't seen that, go look it up. Atlanta Braves, Outcast, bobblehead.
I like bobbleheads.
That is a really
I think
cool
they're
bobblehead.
pretty interesting and cool, and you get a fun one like that.
Yeah,
I like
it's
that
a
lot.
great one.
But just from a pure practicality standpoint, give me the beach towel because now I have something to dry my car off with.
So the beach towels
goes
also
in the trunk and it never comes out.
When did we start getting rid of things that we could actually use in our lives outside of
like
just
the
being
beach
at
towel?
the ballpark? The beach towel is a perfect example. The poncho, even.
Sometimes they'll throw a little blanket. It's got the one side that's got not plastic, but it has that.
I would love that.
It's like a fleece.
Fleece on one side, but the other side has like that, so you can put it on wet grass and it doesn't.
Yes.
Or some sort of seat cover or something. Like, give me some utility. That's the one time in my life I don't mind a little utility in my gifts.
All right, here's another one. This is from Jacob. Is there a purpose to the number lock key on the keyboard? All it does is cause utter frustration when I unknowingly hit it and then mess up a spreadsheet.
Yes, because back in the day, Jacob, I don't know how old you are, but back in the day when keyboards used to not feature numbers on top of the letters, but they featured them beside them, it mimicked the usage of a calculator, which were regularly used things in American society on a regular basis if you were in, say, accounting or any other thing. That's where it comes from. Numlock, you could just be on the side using it like this when you didn't have to look at it, just like a calculator. That's what it comes
I'm looking
from.
at his computer. He does not have Google open. That was all off the dome
that's
right
I
there.
know that. Yeah, that's a fact. That's where it comes from.
I think he made it up.
You of all people. Okay, here we go. No, here, look at it.
No.
If you're watching on YouTube, here's the numlock. Here's what I'm talking about.
And it's the opposite of a phone.
Yes.
Right? The 789 is at the top, not at the bottom.
Exactly. That was like a calculator. Yeah. So yeah, that's
but a calculator has the 1 at the top.
I thought it was the other way around.
I don't think so. Calculator's got the 1 at the top. Hold on. Now we're going to do some research.
Can't remember.
Anyway, I'm just going to go to
That's where that comes from, though. It's old keyboards.
See.
And so, yeah, I like it.
Well, hold on. See, this is going to.
I don't have a keyboard that big
7 at
anymore,
the
though.
top.
Kevin,
Oh,
what was
yeah, you're right.
Thank you.
You're right.
Believe I had that.
I hate telling people they're right about things.
He hates it. It's true. He
I
does.
really do. I like being told that I was right about things,
Right.
but I don't like
Fair enough.
admitting that other people were right about things. All right, we can go back to Lakers. I think we have an answer to a question that we didn't know about a year and a half ago. That's next. It's Travis Slee. Yates in for Slee on 710 ESPN.
Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
710 ESPN.
A Good Karma Brands radio station. It is Travis and Sliwa on 710 ESPN.
Travis Rogers, Alan Sliwa.
I already have my hands on my knees and I'm breathing hard like
Travis and Sliwa on 710 ESPN.
Poor Al sets up his entire schedule to go down to Petco today. You've got the Angels coming in, who finally won a game. They've been on a season-long 4-game losing streak, and he's going to see his Padres and Blake Snell take on the Angels and it'll be Jaime Barria.
Alas. Doesn't know how to set up his rotation. Terrible foresight on everything. Slee, this has not been a good summer.
Not ideal.
Outside of him being, of course, the host of the year.
I'm hoping that you ask me, what do we got? We got about 2 weeks until we have our softball game. It's July 14th, so we got a little bit less than 2 weeks.
We're looking at the squads right now. Travis and I are on the same side of the scale.
I like our
year.
team, by the way.
Yeah, I also and we can talk about this a little bit.
Don't sleep on Team Slee.
So it's Team Mason is Mace Sedano, myself, Ron Mitchell, who was the sales person of the year, Justin Schafflander, who apparently is a softball player, you, Yates, Momo, Andy Cam, Lindsay Baseball, and M. That's our squad. The other squad, Team
You'll also
Slee,
have Brian Cohen.
And Brian. Brian, you're on our team?
I guess so.
Okay, Brian's on
all
our
right,
team.
nice.
Other side is Slee, Cap, Kirk Morrison, Mario Ruiz, Matt Burke, Corporate Producer Funchess, Jorge, and Laura, Producer Laura.
So there's a couple things about this.
And Tyler.
Number one, wait, whose team is Tyler?
Tyler is
Team
on
Slee.
Slee's team.
Oh, okay. There's a couple things about this. Number one, I'm much more enjoying the attitudes going into the game this year than last year. Last year, things got a little loose on the talk, and it was kind of like, okay, guys, like we're really just playing softball. Like, and people were assuming that everybody was taking this way too seriously. And I was like, oh, this is what we're doing. We're going to actually talk trash to each other like we have a problem with each other. And that got, to me, my personal taste, I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to stretch and warm up because I don't want to hurt myself because I want to be able to walk for the next 10 minutes.
So you're leaving out an important part.
What's that?
You wouldn't have to stretch or warm up if you just don't try. Like
yeah,
me.
right. Again, and that's where things got a little loose. I was
trying's for suckers.
Yeah, that's what you think. But I'm like, I also not the kind of person that doesn't try and then continues to talk trash about people who are. That was very confusing for me
at the
time.
And this happened. Oh, Brian,
doesn't have it.
Does Travis go deep?
There
Travis goes deep.
And so what I'm saying is this. I feel like there's a healthier environment into what we're all doing this year, and it's reflected in the teams. And so
where are you going to play?
I'm going to play short this year because you can play first. I played first last year because I didn't have confidence that anybody could play first on our team last year. I was very nervous about this.
I don't blame you for that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a real element.
That's a big position.
So, I think
I can stand there and catch it.
I think we're in a better balanced squad situation because we've all seen each other play, is what I'm getting at.
Ron is the best pitcher of all, 30 names on the list or whatever it is, 18 names on the list?
Yeah.
Ron's the best pitcher. We have him. Ramona is the only softball player on the list.
Women's College World Series alum.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's just a more balance, and it feels like everybody understands that we're trying to do a little bit more as opposed to just finding a reason to talk trash because somebody grounded out to second,
How many home runs we get hit on our team?
I don't know. I mean, I'm you're the homer guy. I'm more concerned about driving in runs, which is...
Well, home runs drive in a bunch
I do
at
know
once.
that, but I don't know what the fence situation is going to be in this
Too
scenario.
short again, like last year?
Is it the same spot from last year?
It's the same spot from last year, but we got to have a talk about the fence because I thought Sandoval was going to blow out a knee on that last play of the game. He almost ran over 3 separate human beings trying to catch a ball that ended the game.
Ever since he told me at the pickleball tournament that he thought I was 62 years old, I'm not worried about his knees.
All right, fair enough. See, this
Does
is
Travis go deep?
This is also very personal for Travis. I can see.
Everything is very personal with me at all times.
But I'm saying I cannot deal with watching people get carted off of fields. That's all I care about at this stage of the game. So let's hope that doesn't happen. I get to play short. Momo can play second. We can have a nice
Who's going to score runs for that other team? Kirk is going to be
Mario is going to score runs because Mario is fast and Mario is an athlete. Burke can probably get on base a lot.
Our team's quick. Trav.
Bergman, not the best base runner as evidence from last year, but I think he's a heads-up player, obviously. Now, Brian Kamenetsky is a real X factor for that team. He's a real ball player, so he's probably going to be the best player on that team, not named Kirk. So, personal opinion.
Kirk will hit, but he hit 3 last year?
He hit 3. I was on base for all of them. So yeah.
Were you really?
Yeah. I scored 4 runs in that game, and he was 3 of them.
And how'd you guys do?
We lost. Turns out, Beto Duran, who's not playing,
where's
hit the game-winning home run. I think he's got some other work. So
you got to make a living.
Apparently, some of us are still here on holidays for a reason.
I know, right? All right, so Lakers make a bunch of moves. I shouldn't say a bunch of moves. They make some smart moves, I think, over the last 2 days. You get Gabe Vincent 3 years, $33 million. You had Taurean Prince for a year at $4.5 million. You get Jackson Hayes a couple of years at $4.5 million. You re-sign Rui. You re-sign D'Angelo. You re-sign Austin Reeves. You get Cam Reddish on a couple of years on a veteran's minimum. Nothing super splashy. Gabe Vincent's probably the biggest name, and he's a name because he played in the finals as the ultimate grit and glue guy.
People figured out who he was this year, yeah.
So I think when you're looking at this and you see what they did at the last trade deadline, you see what they did during the draft, you see what they did in free agency open, I think the question of who's in charge over there has been finally answered very clearly. Rob Pelinka's in charge.
Yeah.
That because before it was, is Clutch calling the shots? Is LeBron calling the shots? How involved is Phil Jackson? Is Magic Johnson still whispering in Genie's ear? Is Genie making the shots?
The Rambi
involved in there? You could literally go down the list and come up with 10 different names, and none of them were like totally out of left field.
Not even close.
Right? They were like, yeah, okay. Now it's like Rob Pelinka has his hand on the wheel, and he's making decisions like a general manager should make decisions, both short-term and long-term flexibility, competitive now with an option to change it if you need to, but ride it out if you want to. And it feels like really since that potpourri of voices has been eliminated down to 1, it makes a whole hell of a lot more sense, and they're a lot better basketball team.
I hope so, and I say that in this regard. My main issue with the Lakers was always this. It was you're just not operating like a modern NBA franchise. And this is one step closer. I still don't know that Pelinka as the say-all, be-all is what gets the Lakers back to the consistent competitive grind that is what you thought of from Showtime, I think you're stepping in the right direction. But I still think there's something to be said for modernizing the entire scouting situation beyond just the deals Pelinka can make. They're in the right place. They're stepping in the right direction, and I like the specific continuity. I just hope it works because these other teams out here are pretty daggone good. We've seen this. They had a nice run last year getting to the conference finals. Minor miracle, as we talked about earlier this season. The health is a factor. All of the things that should be happening are happening. I just caution Laker fans to think that it automatically means a title run.
There's too many pretty good teams to have an automatic title. The only team that you feel like you could say, look, they're going to be in the conference finals or beyond, is probably Denver.
Yeah.
Right? And that assumes the health of both Murray and Jokic. That happens.
Sure.
All bets are off. That's true for everybody. Commitment to competitive grind or consistent competitive grind is what you said. Okay? I don't know if they can be that because their two best players are going into year 21, right? So consistent, I don't know. I don't know. I think if you said you're going to get 50 games from LeBron James, I'd say I'll take it.
Oh, yeah.
I'd take that right now. Anthony Davis, really good the second half of the season, pretty healthy, played every night. That's good. But your two best players are old and often hurt in that order with those two guys. I don't know how consistently competitive and grinded out you can be when that's a truism.
I don't disagree, but part of me is talking about this in the context of the post-LeBron era. Yeah. That's what I mean. I mean, I'm thinking about this well beyond just this particular squad that Pelinka is dealing with. I'm thinking about, what happens after that because, again, that's how you've got to think about the NBA now. I mean, there is the right now. But they've gotten something out of the right now. You can't act like they didn't get a ring. They did, and they had a pretty good run. And if I told you, let's just say they made the finals this year and lost, and I told you LeBron James comes here, wins one ring, goes to another finals, and that's all you get, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you didn't know that all this other madness had happened in the interim and you'd assume they'd been running this in a decent operation.
I don't disagree. In a vacuum, yes.
But
okay, if you would have said you're going to get this will be a sixth season. In 6 seasons with LeBron James, you're going to win a title, you're going to go to another finals, which we're assuming is this upcoming season, and you went to a conference finals kind of out of nowhere.
Decent run.
It is. However, this is why I think, and I'm putting myself in this group, I think it's just short of good enough. Not by and here's why. They won that title basically in his first year where he had the pieces he needed. Right, the first year he came over with all the young guys, that wasn't a title team. That wasn't going to happen. You get him Anthony Davis, and it hits.
Right.
And it hits in a real way. And it felt like they were set up because LeBron was still playing at a high level and has continued to. Played a little bit less, but he still plays at a high level. This is more of a reflection on Anthony Davis because since then, he's been unavailable frequently. That 2 years in, you'd already won a title. Anthony Davis and LeBron James ranked number 1 and 2 in ESPN. Anthony Davis was a young, dynamic, one of the best players in the league. At that point, he said, from this point forward, you're only going to get one more finals appearance. It would have felt short.
Okay, but I think what I'm getting at here is the way that this was supposed to happen, and even in the Laker way, was you pick a guy, you build around him, there's some stars. The whole LeBron method was off base. Even though he was an acquisition of a star, the issue people had was that he wasn't homegrown and he wasn't one of the real Lakers. You're setting yourself up potentially, hopefully, what you want to set yourself up for is what the old thing looked like. You got your guys that you know were good, and you find the guy that nobody else found. Again, Kobe's of the world, Magic was an obvious pick, but Kobe got traded on draft day. It wasn't like he was the obvious guy by any stretch of the imagination. You've got to believe that you can get back to a scouting standpoint that knows the game globally the same way that some of these other guys does. They've drafted well.
Now, they haven't found a Kobe.
But that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about building towards consistent something. What we get with AD and LeBron is almost a sunk cost on some level, if I'm being very honest about the future of this franchise. And that's not a problem. I think you've gotten good enough for that. But you got to look at this beyond that right now. And I think that you set yourself up so that you can be in position to do what you used to do, not just what you want to do right now.
I think what's helped Pelinka specifically is you don't have to exclusively base decisions on whether or not LeBron's going to like them anymore.
Right.
It's part of it. Right, you have to certainly take his opinion into consideration when you're talking about, hey, we're going to go get Gabe Vincent or whatever. We're not going to go after Kyrie. You have to at least have him in the room and talk about these things. But before, and I'm just hypothesizing here, if LeBron James said, I want Kyrie Irving, he'd be here.
Right. I see what you're saying.
And everyone else would be going, this is a terrible idea. This, I can't, but it would be, look, he won't, because if he doesn't get what he wants, he's going to leave. If he doesn't get what he wants, he's going to go over here. But you don't have to look at it through that prism. He's a part of it, but he's not the only part of it.
He's not. But the way the league works now, with teams like your OKC Thunders with a gazillion picks coming up, you might be able to find a way after, let's just say, a couple guys move on. Let's just say LeBron retires and AD's in the last stages. You find a first-round pick somewhere, and all of a sudden you've got a guy. Now you got a real team. You know what I'm saying? You're not just plucking at straws, talk about where the Lakers obviously is going to work. You can actually build a team. That's the day I'm looking forward to.
Is the cliff coming? Because the decline is here, but it's subtle.
Cliff is not how I would say it. I don't think we're ever going to see a real cliff. Maybe because I don't think that LeBron's ever going to put himself in a position to be viewed as falling off of a cliff. He's always going to be the hardest playing player on the court. That's a very difficult thing, even if you don't like his specific mannerisms. But look at the playoffs this year. Look at this whole last year. You can't blame LeBron for any of that.
No.
The guy was the biggest contributor on the team.
That's what I mean. The point where he doesn't play as much as he used to. Why would he? It's his 20th season in the league. But when he plays, there's some things that you notice that are not the same from me. But of course they're not. But it's subtle. He picks his spot a little bit more. He doesn't attack the basket quite as much. He settles for the jumper a little bit more. But it's subtle. It's not quite the same thing. I don't know if we'll ever see. Look,
will that player be on the Lakers? I think is the best question.
Will that question be on the? But just that, look, he can't get by anybody anymore. He just isn't there. That he's got to go be a bully under the basket.
I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening for a team. I don't think that'll happen any time with the Lakers. I don't.
You think this is his last season here? So Slee believes that this is his last season.
I do, yes.
Does he go wherever Bronny ends up?
ATL, shouty.
Yeah. He kind of hinted at it.
Yeah, I don't bemoan that move at all. You want to go there, they want to pick your kid, you want to do a Washington Wizards-style goofball operation for a couple seasons with some guy coming out of basically retirement, yeah, fine, be my guest. You're the Hawks. You're irrelevant.
What if you're still one of the best players in the league? He was last year. You want to go do a goofball thing your last year?
But this is what I mean by not falling off a cliff. I don't think you're going to see that last year. You're not going to get Willie Mays with the Mets falling down in center field. You're not going to get, and I don't know that you're even going to get it, let's say a Joe Montana with the Chiefs making the playoffs. Like, I don't
AFC Championship.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be closer to something more akin to like what Michael Jordan did. They never made the playoffs, but they were the most exciting thing in town for a lot of people who remember that era.
And Jordan
ruined the franchise.
You could speak to it better because you were there, but Jordan was not a bad player for the Wizards. Jordan was not there to goof around.
No.
He was still a pretty good NBA
player.
player.
He had a little bit overdue. He had some undue influence on the actual basketball team because he came out of the front office. But from an actual on-the-court standpoint, it was a successful venture, in my opinion. I just think that it was coupled with all the things that happened and him riding out of town, it didn't work well.
All right, so you got James Harden, you've got Dame, you've got Kyrie, you've got a bunch of guys that may end up on some new teams and some new places. Do we like this era of the NBA? That's coming up next. It's Travis Slee, 710 ESPN. And ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Insurance offers 24/7 protection when you bundle your home, auto, and motorcycle. Learn more at Progressive.com.
All right, we did this yesterday. We do it again. Combat Poker at the Commerce Casino. You got to be a part of this. So it's free to enter. The top 18 advance to the second round. I'd probably be top 300, but that's okay. That's just me. Top 18 advance to the second round. Chance to win $10,000. All you got to do is go to ESPNLA.com. That's ESPNLA.com. Make sure to enter.
dude has been known to walk up and down. Doesn't matter whether he's near an ocean or not. He takes sunscreen, not to spray, okay? Takes sunscreen, just throws it over to a random person. Doesn't matter, a dude or girl, and just says, get the back.
More of Travis and Sliwa right now.
Travis and Sliwa, it's your boy, the Big CY, talking about the NBA, talking about the Lakers. Want to get to a quick tweet. Jonathan Watson says, go back to the roster that won in the bubble that was Rob Pelinka, Danny Green, Rondo, JaVale, Dwight, KCP, and Keith Morris. He just got too cute the last 3 seasons, not running it back, bringing in Russ, extremely odd. He got it right. Now, that's my point, is that modern NBA operations are not running on the whims of one guy. You have a larger system in which there is a philosophy in place. And yes, I get it. Pelinka gets it right. However, if he's also going to be the same guy that has whims, that's not, to me, you can be smarter than that. And why not? We can do hard things, guys. There's an element of that I think if we're moving towards that for the Lakers, you're moving towards the right thing as a healthier franchise overall, rather than just saying, I was right or he was wrong.
I agree with you. I agree with the idea that they are moving towards a healthier franchise and that a modern NBA operation does not run on the whims of one guy. However, for 10 years, the NBA ran on the whims of LeBron James, and he went to the finals 9 times.
Okay, but he's a player.
So I understand, but this is why the Lakers thing is important.
Yeah,
because he goes to Miami, and LeBron James is calling the shots there to a point as far as not
sure
maybe
as much
not
as
like,
Riles would allow,
as much as he could. They go to the finals 4 times in a row, win 2 championships. He goes back to Cleveland, and he's basically running the team.
Correct.
They go to the finals 4 years in a row, and they win another championship. Okay, he leaves Cleveland, comes to Los Angeles. First year, not so great. Second year, they go to the finals, and they win an NBA championship. So in a 10-year window, he went to the finals 9 times and won 4 titles.
The guy's played an ungodly amount of basketball.
So my point is the fortunes of an NBA team did run through the whims of one player.
Okay.
But it's just that and that's where the Lakers got stuck, because when do you decide, okay, we're not going to do that anymore?
Right.
They kept doing it until it was very obvious that it doesn't work anymore. They did the Westbrook thing, and that was obviously as much LeBron as it was anybody else. And they said, okay, and it gave them the opportunity. It allowed them to say, let's collaborate, as opposed to just say, what would you like to do?
No, fair enough. But I do think that Pelinka has eaten his Wheaties, if you will, this offseason, and has shown up strong to what should be a good transactional situation for that squad.
So Adrian Wojnarowski, Woj had a term called the transfer portal era of the NBA, which is just about perfect, right? It's this idea of, it's like college sports, where if you go as a freshman and you don't get the minutes you want or the innings you want or the touches you want, I'm going to the portal, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Yep.
And you're literally a free agent every single year. We're seeing it in the NBA where guys sign very lucrative deals, and then almost immediately once the ink's dry on it, they say, get me out of here. James Harden, the most recent example of this. Kevin Durant in Brooklyn. We've seen it's, and I don't mean to single those guys out, but these are the names that pop into my head. I'm pro player. When I look at this stuff, I always tend to land on the side of the players being able to go where they want to go, maximize their earning and all these things. I don't love the fact that these guys can sign, and I'm just making up numbers here, sign a 5-year deal, have one bad season and say, well, I don't like it here anymore, get me the hell out of here. It's at some point, you got to sign up for some of it. I get it, the old school 5-year deal. At the end of the 3rd year, maybe you start to twist an arm a little bit, like, hey, I'm going to need you to do something here. At the end of that 4th year, it's you got to move me out of here. It's been better. Now it's free agency, even when they're not free agent, every single year.
You know we're complicit in this, right? This network. We are wildly complicit, simply because, again, I talked about this before, transaction Twitter, I believe genuinely the interests of fans has changed the outlooks of certain front offices.
In the NBA in particular.
In the NBA, to the point where you're like, yo, why are you listening to this jabron who's on God knows what social network? And I don't mean to say that as in it's that direct, but like over the last 10 years in the NBA, the idea of this has changed drastically, and fans have been at the forefront of it. And I don't have an issue with it except for one reason.
But the general managers, team presidents, they're reacting to the whims of the players. The players are there for 5 seconds. I don't like it here. Move me. And they do.
I get it. But that also has to do with what they're looking at in the overall context of the game. The reason I have an issue with it, and I don't even know if this is an issue with it, this is just what I would say is, half the time it doesn't work. Like if it wasn't LeBron James related, it didn't work. And, on some level, you have to look at this and say, okay, well, this puts us in a position to do this. This puts us in a position to do that. Okay, well, what position are you in now? This has not been nearly as successful a general manager strategy, as a lot of people think. We talked about the Warriors. We talked about the Bucks and the Nuggets. Those teams did some sort of amalgamation of that where you built a team. At the very least, you weren't just kind of hoping, all right, well, if I bring this guy in, maybe it's going to turn over.
It's
the
all
Sixers.
LeBron's fault.
It's not all LeBron's fault.
It is.
He's too good.
And I mean it as a compliment.
He was too good, yeah.
I mean it as a compliment.
I see what you're saying.
That LeBron went to Miami and basically said, hey, D-Wade, don't stay here. I'm coming. Hey, Bosh, come on. Let's go.
I mean.
And it worked. And then he went back to Cleveland, and it worked again. And then he went to L.A., and it worked again.
Yeah.
And so everyone's like, well, Kevin Durant, LeBron, doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work like that, and it hasn't worked like that in 3 seasons, as you pointed out. So my issue with it is not in the sort of emotional sign-up element. It's just not that effective. And if I'm running a team, and there's so many teams that I felt like the Thunder come to mind. Like, maybe you could have given this a shot. You know what I'm saying? I realized there was a lot of money to be paid out there, but, like, what happened there?
Durant, Harden, and Westbrook all in the prime of their lives.
Are you kidding
me?
me?
They went to the finals once when they didn't even know what they were doing.
And it blows up the next year? Like, what? How? What? I don't. No, that was not effective. I don't care how you add it up. And so that's my issue with it. It's one thing to say that it's against the principles of my fanhood or whatever, and I'm not dismissing what you're saying, but I mean for others. But for me, it's just like, this has not been nearly as effective if you don't have LeBron James as you think it is.
And I'll use myself as the example. I am a product of my era. Okay? And my favorite sport, my favorite team, the Dodgers, set a record for having the same infield together for 8 years, which is
true.
Ludicrous. Right. It's ludicrous. Like, the idea that you're going to have the same 4 guys in the same 4 places for virtually a decade, but you get indoctrinated into, well, this is what it is. And then they'll move again. Davey Lopes is out. Here comes Steve Sachs. Okay, I can get to know Steve Sachs. And it's just these incremental things. And then the next thing you know, Oral Hershiser feels like Fernando Valenzuela because they just integrated this.
That's how you build a culture.
And that's how you build culture. And now every year it's like, you better buy a program on your way through the door. You're not going to know who these players are. I know I sound like an old man, and I still love baseball. I still love all these things. But when it turns, and especially in the NBA, when it turns over, and not just the rank and file, the stars turn over so frequently. Like the idea of a player like Kevin Durant in the 80s and 90s moving around that much would have been lunacy.
Doesn't exist.
It would have been. Magic Johnson doesn't move. Michael Jordan didn't move until the very end. Larry Bird and Barkley moved around a little bit, but they just didn't move around like that. And Barkley wasn't nearly the impact that a guy like Kevin Durant was. Kevin Durant, other than Kobe and LeBron's best player in the league for a big chunk of that time.
What's interesting about you bringing up the Dodgers is that some people think this is kind of the problem with the Dodgers right now, is that all these guys, the homegrown guys, aren't there the way that they used to be. I mean, from a talent standpoint. And I hear that. The idea of, I know this team, I like this team, I'll live or die with whether or not this team wins. I won't live or die with whether or not this team wins or loses, but I know who these humans are. That's a big part of the experience. And once it came to, and again, this gets back to what I'm saying about fans and their relationship and influence on the game. Once Rings Mountain became the only place that anybody ever wanted to live or could talk about living,
so much.
You know what I'm saying? That's when this all started to. I can't deal with it. Legacy, Twitter, Rings Mountain. Get out of here. Get out of here. This is not why I watch sports. And I get that for some people it is, but that started to creep into
what
almost
a miserable way to watch it. honestly, that if the only thing that matters, and I'm not saying it's not important, it's obviously very important, but if the only thing that matters is did you win it or not, then you're not going to have a lot of guys that are viewed as successful.
And that's fair. And I'll say this to people to their faces. If that's how you view sports, you probably don't really like sports that much. What you like is being associated with the winner. And that's fine. But what I mean is that has drastically affected the experience of being a sports fan. And I think it's affected what is front office work in multiple sports. People look at the entirety of what matters and completely differently than they did back when you were a kid, back when they were writing on papyrus. You know what I'm saying? That's
the quill.
Things have changed, right? just a little bit.
Hand me my quill, Gates.
With my feather. Here it is. I decree on this 4th of July.
Yeah, let's throw it all the way back. Give me a parchment and a quill, or at least a hammer.
But no,
and a chisel.
I do think you're right, and I think that is a general thing that I have seen change in my lifetime a lot, which is I don't care who's on the team as long as I get to say our city's better than your city, which is part of it, but it ain't all of it.
It's part of it, but it's not all of it along the way. And then you need your guy, whether it's Rob Plinger, your general manager of your favorite team, to know the difference between getting Russell Westbrook and know the difference between getting, in my opinion, a player like Damian Lillard.
Okay.
Right? They're both big names. They're both walking straight into the Hall of Fame. The difference between Damian Lillard and Kyrie Irving, they're both point guards, right? They are polar ends of the emotional spectrum. One person that you can count on, another person that every day you're like, he coming to work today? What sort of mood's he in?
Yeah.
Is he gonna do his thing? Or is he just gonna play basketball today, or is something else I gotta worry about?
It's also the difference between not adding a Kyrie and not getting rid of, say, a Caruso.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not just the ads.
But you gotta have somebody that
Yeah.
isn't just a star, you know what?
Sure.
That's somebody that, okay, I get he's a star. He's bad news, man.
Yeah.
Everywhere he goes, the place is in smoking ruins by the time he leaves. And then there's this guy's just in a bad spot. Jimmy Butler's a great example.
That's
of
a
this,
great
right?
call, yeah.
Jimmy Butler was thought, he's unpretty as what? No. Jimmy Butler was the most serious person in the building everywhere he went.
Right,
and they
and nobody
couldn't match his
That's
level
exactly
of
right.
commitment to it. And apparently, like, I'll take him.
Yeah, we'll do it. That's a guy I need.
I know that guy.
Yeah, that's the skill, guys. That's the
to
hard
know the
part.
difference.
Yes,
but okay, hard. Yeah, you don't need to be a basketball genius to know to run the opposite direction from Kyrie Irving.
No, fair enough.
Right? You don't need to be a genius to know. Right? Russell. No,
by the way,
no.
do we remember everything the Mavs gave up to get Kyrie Irving? And how
didn't
quickly
make
they
the
crashed
play-in
out of the entire tournament? That was an unbelievable disaster.
You need to have somebody in that building that says, we're not doing
We're
that.
not
and here's
doing
why.
it.
That's a terrible idea.
Can't
I know
happen.
you like it, but we're not doing that because I don't want to see the building crumble and have the smoke going
Not
everywhere.
even close.
I should be a GM. What team should I run?
The Wizards.
Done.
Thank you.
Done.
Goodness
Bradley Beal
gracious.
would not have gotten a no-trade
Yeah,
contract.
thank you.
If I say, you want what? No, man, we're not doing that.
We're not
what
doing
else
that.
You got?
Next question.
Yeah,
Right,
what else you
yeah.
want?
Unbelievable.
You want a suite on the road? We
See
can
what-
talk about that.
Right. You see what I'm saying? It's like some of these guys who do these jobs, not as smart as you think they are.
Factor Cap's coming up next. Yates is in for Slee. It's Travis Slee, 710 ESPN.
Is a cap, but I'm going to go fact.
First of all, it's not a cap. It's
No, it
just
is a cap.
Welcome to Factor Cap.
Hey guys. So,
hi Tyler.
Hey Trav, how's it going, man?
I'm well. Yourself?
Oh, I'm just doing great. Thanks. So, get this. The Carowinds Amusement Park in North Carolina had to close down one of its biggest crowd getters in what
think I've seen
the
this.
roller coaster is called Fury 325. I'm just going to give some background. if
Yeah,
that's
let
okay.
us know,
All right,
please.
cool. So, a roller coaster that's billed as one of the tallest of its kind was seen by a visitor to have a massive crack on one of the pillars holding up one of the roundabouts on the roller coaster. So, you go to North Carolina and you're going to Carowinds Amusement Park after they've fixed this ride, you're going on it. Factor cap. I'm going to go to CY first.
Oh, massive cap. Just as a matter of course, You're not catching me on roller coasters. You couldn't have caught me on a roller coaster since, like, let's just say 99. You know what I'm saying?
Not
like,
a roller coaster type at all?
No, I'm scared of them now, bro.
Okay.
Like, when I was a younger, crazier person, that kind of thrill-seeking gave me some level of excitement. What am I going to do, sit in some crazy rickety thing? God forbid. The worst-case scenario is not just the thing breaking down. For me, you know what it is? It's getting stuck on that thing for like 3 hours.
Upside down,
This
right?
happens with regularity across America. I don't have that kind of time. I don't have that kind of energy. I don't have those kind of nerves, okay? No chance I'm getting on a roller coaster.
Trav, you going on it?
I'm Cap with Yates as well, but for I do go on roller coasters, but it's a very specific set of criteria that will get me on one. And namely, it needs to be owned by a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Okay, right.
Right.
In case a lawsuit is involved, right?
That I'm going to need them to protect themselves first,
Right.
and by default, they're protecting me. The last thing I want is where it took, by the way, like Tyler said, this was a visitor to the park that saw a support beam move 5 feet as the train went by.
Yeah.
Massive crack.
Then went to the people and said, that's not supposed to be like that, and they shut it down. If you are owned by, I don't know, just off the top of my head, say Disney, I'm perfectly fine getting on Space Mountain.
That's fair.
Won't give it a second thought. If you knock that thing together in the parking lot of my local mall, hell no.
Yeah, one
I
of
am
those
outta here.
on a trailer, right? The traveling roller coasters.
When I grew up, I used to go to King's Dominion, and they had one called, they had the Rebel Yell, they had the Grizzly. These two were old school, in the woods, rickety-rackety, and it was like some badge of honor because we used to go there every year. And after junior year, I was like, guys, I'm not doing that anymore. What are you, serious? I got plans in life. I don't want to go flying off of a train car in the middle of Southeast Virginia.
You guys may know the answer to this. There's a show on Netflix about an amusement park outside of New York City and New Jersey that was just known for breaking people's arms and legs on the regular, right? And people kept going. It's the most unbelievable watch. I'm going to find the name of it. I'll tell you guys.
That sounds like a badge of honor.
It's in Pennsylvania.
Is it in Pennsylvania?
And it's where all the Jackass guys were from. It's like those guys grew up when that. I believe
so
we're
it's a
talking about the
hometown
same thing.
Everybody that was working there was on drugs,
and they had to shut it down.
It was just this crazy slice of
man,
like
now
the
I gotta
80s
watch
where
it.
everybody was going.
It's on
crazy.
Netflix, Trav.
It is the godfather of the Jackass era in many ways.
Brian, you going on that roller coaster?
Hell no. That's a cap. I'm with both of them. Maybe something like a Disneyland or something. But as soon as somebody saw a crack on there, that somebody's not doing a job, somebody should be fired. They didn't do no safety checks.
Yeah, Carowinds
whatever it
Amusement
is,
Park,
never
it's a
going
no
there.
for me.
Not to go too far on this, but as a result of my fear of motorized death machines, I've become a much bigger water park human later in life. I will go down your big slide.
Yeah.
I will do all of that. But get the motors and the gears out of there, and I'm better.
I would ride the North Carolina roller coaster in perpetuity before I tip a toe in a collective pool. No
all right, you heard it here first. Travis
way.
is going on this roller coaster. All right, next.
All right.
So Luke Voigt is spending some time down in the minors for the New York Mets. He was seen over the weekend rocking a sleeveless jersey with, I'm going to exaggerate, but it was there were 5 buttons undone at the top. This guy was just totally rocking out with the jersey on. So my question to you is, if these jerseys were available to us for the All-Star game, you're rocking a sleeveless 5 buttons undone jersey to All-Star Friday night next week. Actor Cap, Trav.
Cap. I am ashamed of what I got going on over here.
The North American cut.
I do not need anybody to see it and make me feel worse about it. If there was a way to have the long sleeve with the cuff down to my wrist,
you would do it.
I would do that. No, Luke Voigt though not only does that in the minor. That's how Luke Voigt rolls.
Yeah.
Love it.
In the big leagues, he'd have that thing down to mid chest. He doesn't have a T-shirt on underneath it. He's just letting it.
I didn't enjoy seeing him as a Yankee, but with that jersey on, with the buttons undone.
Here we go. This was just a way to take a shot at the Yankees.
No. Okay,
this
moving
is a
on.
Convoluted setup.
See why you rocking the
Luke Voigt
sleeveless?
doesn't look a whole lot better than you do, Travis.
Yes, he does.
I mean, he's a big dude,
trust
but
me.
I'm saying, let me tell you something. That guy's not chiseled out of stone.
No,
he's
not,
a big boy.
He's not Giancarlo Stanton.
No.
We got the
understand
Michelob
that.
Ultra 6-packs over here.
But relative to me, he is.
Right. Okay. But what I'm saying is that, when I saw that, I was like, Luke, okay. You know what I mean? It's what, I remember when one guy for the Reds did this a couple seasons ago, and it wasn't, who was it?
I'm blanking on his name. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Who was it?
I don't know.
I can't remember, but
I'll get it for
I
you.
think Puig did it once and another guy did it another time. And you were like, oh, okay, well, these gentlemen are Adonis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the difference. So Luke Voigt looked like he could have been out here, out of Westchester by the airport, you know what I'm saying, playing with a couple guys drinking beers.
Breaking news.
He still hit a
the
bomb.
name of the documentary, it's called Class Action Park, and it's on HBO Max.
That's
What
a
is the
fantastic
name of
name
the
for
actual
it, too.
park is the question.
The actual park,
Hold on.
it's the name of it's Class Action Park, America's most dangerous amusement park.
I'm trying to think of the name of the park. Action Park was the name of the park.
Action Park, yeah.
Separate question. Do we have any details on what the jersey situation is for ESPN 710 All-Star Friday night?
Two different colors.
I mean, like, do we bring ours from last year? Do I have to go find it?
They're making
new ones.
Because I think we have new sponsors, too.
Very
And
well.
I think who we're talking about is Scooter Jeanette. Is that right, CY?
Yes, I don't remember his name. If I saw him, I would know. But
With the sleeveless.
Good pull. Yes. No. Exactly. Good call.
Okay. What about you, BC? You wearing the sleeveless jersey with the buttons undone? See, I don't think you answered the question. By the way, we'll come back to you.
Or come back to me.
I think I would with the right accessories. You know, you have the right undershirt. Maybe
Chain,
a nice
got a chain going?
Yeah.
Okay.
A sleeve or something. I don't know.
would do it, and like to the extent that like I've played softball games in basketball jerseys. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it's hot outside. You know what I mean? Like it had to be a smaller, better cut than the average baseball jersey to at least accentuate the little I have going on in my tremendous skinny pimping body. You know what I'm saying? But it's doable.
Tremendous skinny pimping body.
What do you think the over/under on tank tops in my wardrobe is?
I mean, zero. Right. I mean,
Take
listen,
the under.
Again, if I was on this station every day, we'd have tank top Tuesdays, where I'd be wearing them every Tuesday.
Okay.
And
It
everybody-
gets chilly in here, though.
Everybody in the studio.
It gets cold in these studios.
That's true. You can wear a long sleeve under a tank top, though. But I'm just saying.
You want to look like Olivia Newton-John from the 80s?
Have
Make
you
sure
seen
it's
an
tucked
NBA
in,
game
too, right?
recently? This is how everybody dresses now, by the way. There's yoga pants and undershirts under every single daggone uniform.
Like that either.
All right, so this next one I didn't make the easiest to read for myself, so I might stumble a couple times.
All right.
A $300,000 electric flying car just won approval for test flights. Aleph Aeronautics CEO Jim Dukanov said, "It allows us to move closer to bringing people an environmentally friendly and faster commute, saving individuals and companies hours each week. This is one small step for planes, one giant step for cars." So the question is, you're one of the first in line for a flying car if and when the time becomes available to grab one. BC Factor Cap.
Oh, that's fact. If and when I had the money, sign me up. I've been hearing about this my whole life. This was promised 20 years ago.
Yeah, we've seen the Jetsons. We know how it works. Travis, you buying a flying car?
Cap. Look, for those of you that may be getting in the car right now and listening to us, we had the conversation about the submersible.
Yeah.
I don't need to be the first person to do the new thing, especially if the new thing goes to the bottom of the ocean or flies in the sky. Okay, I am going to let a lot of people, I'm going to let the Chuck Yeagers of the world,
right.
I'm going to let those guys do the experimental flights on this, and I'm going to need them to do it for years and years and years and have millions of successful journeys before I get the Hyundai version of the flying car or whatever it is. I will be the last one on it, not the first one.
I'm going to say Cap, but this is kind of the urbanist in me. Like, where are these cars going to fly, dog?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, air traffic is already pretty congested, my guy.
Yeah, it's messy up there.
This is the same reason why I don't ride scooters on the street, because there's already cars and bikes and humans and motorcycles. Like, there's no place for these vehicles in the space that they're trying to operate. No, thank you.
I only imagine them like finding the in-between, right? Like right above
What are they
cars
flying
and right
15 feet in the air?
Yeah.
I mean, is that what we're
in which
talking
you're
about?
subject to some donk throwing something at you, and then
Yep.
you're next thing you know, you're coming out of the sky.
Yeah, who's going to stop a projectile?
I mean, no way.
That's a good point.
It's a bad idea all around.
Experimental, fill in the blank, I'm out.
This is like the Tesla autopilot thing where we're letting other people learn, and then eventually we'll start doing it.
Can't do
yeah,
that
I'm stuck with the whole autopilot thing. Never mind being in the sky.
Can't do it.
Forget
Like
that.
the brake and the steering wheel. I'll use those.
There you go. All right, next one. A 64-year-old woman punched a black bear in the nose after it chased her dog in Maine. You're going toe-to-toe with a bear to save your dog. Factor Cap, Travis.
I am the absolute wrong person to ask for this. I know that all the dog people are going to hate me more than they already do. I'm not a pet guy. I had a dog as a kid. Loved the dog. R.I.P. Murphy. Great dog. My mom loved the dog.
Murphy.
We all love the dog. People are more important to me than dogs.
I respect that take.
I am not getting in the way of a black bear, grizzly bear, brown bear, whatever type of bear you got. If it I'm sad. I'm not saying I'm not tore up by the idea of watching somebody's pet get devoured, but I'm not intervening. I'm sorry. People over pets. Sorry, that's me.
All right, CY, what about you?
By the way, we have a quick update from Mace. He says that the Mean Streak at Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio is the best rickety roller coaster in America, and T. Mason will be wearing red. So for me, this is a dependent situation. If I'm in the woods and I'm camping and like I'm coming off a screen, if you will, and I'm kind of block the shot kind of situation, yeah. But like if I'm walking my dog and a bear comes out in somewhere in the suburbs or whatever and the dog gets off leash, I'm not running after it. You know what I'm saying? If I know that this is what we signed up for, there's a possibility that I'll consider tangoing with a wild animal.
Well, that's what's
possibility.
That line? Like you don't have to be faster than the bear. You just have to be
the
faster
next guy.
than the other guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
That's exactly.
So you're telling me
right.
you're not decking a black bear in the face to save your dog?
I might launch. I might throw him the cutter. You know what I'm saying? See if I can hit him in the nose.
Grab a pine
stun
cone?
him a little bit. I'll take the nearest available projectile. Yeah, and try to hit him and distract him. But that's about it. Yeah.
Let's hope there's fruit trees in your neighborhood, right?
Exactly.
Brian, you punching a black bear in the nose?
Yeah, I got a question first. How did this lady okay?
Oh, she's great. So she actually she was taken to the hospital. She only had a couple puncture wounds, but she was totally fine.
Minor laceration.
Yeah. If she was okay,
we call those battle scars.
See
why? A couple battle scars.
I don't want, guys. Puncture wounds.
Yeah,
but minor or otherwise, puncture wound sounds bad.
Yeah, so this happened on Friday, this last Friday, 11:30 a.m. She was taken to Memorial Hospital in North Conway. She was treated for puncture wounds on her wrist. She's totally fine.
Wow.
So Brian, answer the question, bro.
So if you said she was okay, yeah, I'm following that lady, taking on the bear. The fact she got hurt.
You're throwing a haymaker at a black bear to save your dog?
I think the dog's saving me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel like the haymaker is like
bull,
that's not how you win that fight. It's like
black bears are the kind of relatively smaller ones.
Right. Yeah,
right?
and
they're more passive too.
Like that's more of a
3-4 feet
distraction
tall.
and get away. I'm not throwing. It's like in Mike Tyson's Punch Out where you hit the dude in the top and then you hit him in the gut a bunch of
Is
times.
that the Buddha guy that spun around?
No, it was like the island dude.
What a great
King
callback.
Hula. That was his name. Yeah,
great callback.
So that's the strategy I would take with the black bear.
There's one guy that had to spin around. And you hit him in the stomach, and then you'd have to let him spin, wait for him to tire out.
Yeah,
and
it
hit
was
him a
not
few
that
more
guy.
times.
That was not that guy.
I never got past Bald Bull. Bald Bull took me
Bald Bull
out
was tough. Yeah,
There's always that one that you just can't get past,
Yeah.
and then your friend's like, "Did you beat that one yet?" And you're like, "Nah, man, it's been
No,
18 years."
You're
I still
not allowed
haven't
to
beat
come
it."
over anymore either. Yeah.
Once you got past Glass Joe, it was a wrap.
Yeah, wow.
I had Piston Hurricane. That was the other guy I could beat.
Yes, that dude was not that good.
So I know 2 video games. That might be one of them along the way. All right, $500 million, and ESPN got away with nothing. That's next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
Are you looking for more?
All right, we did this yesterday. We do it again. Combat poker at the Commerce Casino. You got to be a part of this. So it's free to enter. The top 18 advance to the second round. I'd probably be top 300, but that's okay. That's just me. Top 18 advance to the second round. Chance to win $10,000. All you got to do is go to ESPNLA.com. That's ESPNLA.com. Make sure to enter.
Like I hit a point in my career that I've been waiting for a long time. It goes back to Monday. You and I did our show. And I gave you my review of the Dodger dog, right? And then later that very same day, Mason in Ireland reached out and said, hey, would you mind coming on and talking a little bit about the Dodger dog that you had on the way? I said, sure. So I went on with the guys and we talked a little bit about the Dodger dog, talked a little baseball. And then yesterday, I got a call from Sedano, LZ, and Cap saying, hey, you want to come on and talk about the Dodger dog? And I said, you know what? I'd like that. I'd like to. So I finally feel that after being in this game for 25 plus years, that I've finally been recognized for my area of expertise, which is I can critique hot dogs better than everybody else. I feel like I finally found my lane.
A man that knows hot dogs better than anybody else alive. And that's saying something. Travis Rogers, Alan Sliwa, it continues for your Wednesday.
Not only do I know my way around a hot dog, but tomorrow's kind of the hot dog day, right?
Yes.
Like
God.
It's either a baseball game or the 4th of July. Those are the days where you're expected to eat hot dogs.
So have you done the Great American Hot Dog Experience? Have you been to the Coney Island on the 4th of July?
I have not.
Bro. So let me explain. Let me break this thing down to you from a fundamental standpoint.
Okay.
As Kent Murphy used to say on the internet back in the day. So the Brooklyn Cyclones, low A-ball team in the New York Penn League, they play on Coney Island.
Okay.
They have a ballpark. I'd say it fits 2,500.
Okay.
It looks out over onto all of the stuff, the boardwalk. It's fantastic. The hot dog eating contest used to be a riser setup that they built on the boardwalk in the carnival situation. It has since moved to the ballpark. I will explain to you why this matters in a second. Because when you get off the train at Coney Island and you walk all the way past the island, past all the other stuff, if you do it on the 4th of July, you know one thing stands out more than anything. It's the smell in the place. And you're like, oh, my God, this is disgusting. So if you are ever invited to that, you can take a guess. Let's just say you are eliminated from that if there is what we call a reversal of fortune.
Right.
Many fortunes
have been reversed.
And if they don't get them cleaned up, I learned this when I was walking from the train to the ballpark. And you walk past this, and I was like, oh, this is nasty. Went to see the Cyclones. That was great. Hung out in Coney Island for the rest of the night. The stench does not go away.
No, why would it?
Not for a while. Now they have it in the ballpark, leading me to believe that they try to keep it a little bit more sanitary rather than just folks yakking it on the side at Coney Island.
Are there prelims to this thing? I know that Joey Chestnut shows up and Rec Shop and he goes in there.
There's a whole process that I don't know anything about. I can't watch anybody eat competitively.
It's gross.
I cannot do it. They do, however, also now have include drinking contests. Like, can you, I know you can, I know this might interest you. Matter of fact, the lady asked me about this. She's like, you think Travis would be good at that? I'm like, I don't know because
Tell me about it.
This is a
I'll
large,
tell you
could you drink a gallon of lemonade faster than some fat guy?
No.
Right. I didn't think so either. I was like, chugging a beer is one thing.
I'm a pint guy.
Right. It's another thing to go full down the gullet for a good 45 seconds to a minute.
No.
I was like, that's weird. So just be aware, folks, if you ever find yourself at an eating contest, never mind on Coney Island, it will not smell great. Happy 4th.
How many hot dogs are you going to have tomorrow?
Probably two.
Two
glizzies is about my limit.
So if you're in a situation where there's stuff going on the grill, right? You got your dogs, you got your burgers, maybe you got some chicken or whatever else. You got some other stuff on the grill. Are you not just hot dogging it as you go, as you're cooking them there? Because my buddies always give me a hard time because I think hot dogs they're like they're a 4th of July appetizer. They're never the entree. You can have your watermelon and your hamburgers, your potato salad and all that stuff as your entree, but as I'm giving you your burger and Brian,
it's kind of the walking around ham of summer.
So that one's done. I'll eat that.
There's an element of that. I don't like. I mean, no, I'm not consuming that much hot doggery, if you will. Definitely not happening.
Three's
a lot of hot dogs.
2 as you're cooking, and then 1 as the night's winding down.
Sure, and I don't plan on cooking tomorrow, so I think we'll be good.
I'm excited. We'll both be on a boat tomorrow. Different boats.
I'm on a boat. I don't know if I'm getting on the boat.
Do you wear like a Gilligan outfit? What do you wear?
That's a good question.
Your sweatshirt
what am I
on right now?
Yeah, this is not
Gilligan adjacent.
Not bad. I have more Gilligan adjacent stuff too. I got things that could double for sailor. I know. I need the captain's hat. That's
no.
In fact,
the
Gilligan hat.
The flap.
Dude, I have one from the U.S. Open in New York. I might wear that.
Dude, if you showed up with that sweatshirt, which is a nice hoodie, nice
I
little
guess
Ralph
that's
Lauren
true.
hoodie.
I will post
pants?
pictures. Of course, I have white pants. Did you see me at the Mandy's? I was out there stunting in the white pants. Multiple pairs of white pants in my wardrobe.
Do you have little boat shoes?
No, I'm not wearing boat shoes. The problem is that the humans that I'm going on this boat with are not, in fact, those kind of boat people. There's like certain boat people that are I'm not going to use the word trashy, but like people who own and operate their boats versus people who let other people operate their boats, even though they own them, if you get my point here.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, these are humans that operate their own boats as opposed to people.
It's their boat that they use.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. They're not just on the boat because they want to eat caviar.
All right, so there's a report that's out that upwards of $500 million in medical expenses. I'll read this to you. Pickleball injuries may have cost Americans $377 million in healthcare costs this year alone, accounting for 5 to 10% of total unexpected medical costs. Quote, while we generally think of exercise as positively impacting health outcomes, the can-do attitude of today's seniors can pose greater risk in other areas such as sports injuries, leading to a greater number of orthopedic procedures. Estimated there will be about 6,700 emergency room visits, 366,000 outpatient visits, and 9,000 outpatient surgeries related to pickleball exclusively this year. That the ESPN team got out of there scot-free is a miracle.
How are you? No, you're right. And again, for those of you talking trash about why I'm so concerned about preparation for these softball games, and I'm not talking about you, Travis. You are a finely tuned athlete that has done it at the highest level. And by the highest level, I mean the Western Conference.
The Big West.
How dare you?
Pardon me. How dare you,
I was so upset that I was going to screw that up. And I was like, let me just barrel through it. So, but most of us have not. And surely most people out on that field have not. Preparation matters. Can you say that number again? 500 million?
Yes.
In injuries alone?
Yes. Surgeries, outpatient medical, outpatient surgeries, outpatient visits, and 67,000 ER room visits.
That's a loss no matter what. It doesn't matter what's in the scorebook. If you walk out of there or you don't walk out of there with an injury, you've lost.
So I was reading the story, and apparently part of the problem with pickleball is, and this is why I think you like it, I like it, and it is fun. It's a very fun game to play. There's literally zero buried entry.
Yeah.
Right? That you don't have to run.
No.
Especially if you're playing doubles. You just kind of cover about one step in either
sort of
direction.
cutting, yeah.
Tennis, you got to run.
Yeah.
Even if you're playing doubles in tennis, you're covering a lot of court. Basketball goes without
I don't
saying.
play basketball anymore because I get injured every time I play.
Playing basketball's hard.
Yeah.
Right? You got to run. You got to move your feet. You got to
Right.
get in front of somebody. You got to jump, which you can be super. More importantly, you got to land.
Right. That's the hard part. Getting off the ground, one thing. Pulling in is another.
We
tough.
escaped.
It's tough.
Have you played since the tournament?
Pickleball?
Yeah.
I have not, but when I went to Omaha, I was really upset because a bunch of guys went and played and didn't tell me. And I was like, a bunch of guys from the ACC network went, and I was like, guys,
To go play pickleball, it's 150 degrees in.
Well, it was like
right
it's like as opposed to a morning round of golf.
okay.
Before the heat got there, guys were playing pickleball left and right. My man Danny Graves used to play for the Reds.
The Reds,
But yeah, I have not played since. But it was also like their second time playing. So I would get back into it. Somebody want to invite me to the pickleball? We can do it.
I think what makes it so much fun, and I mean sincerely, is that you don't have to play and you can just show up and play again.
If you have any sort of bat to ball or hand-eye with rackets.
Like if you played tennis and played for a month to get ready for a tennis tournament, okay. If then you didn't touch a tennis racket for 9 months,
you'd be terrible.
You'd be terrible at it again. Pickleball, your skill level is what it is. You just hope you don't end up in the emergency room.
I'm contemplating bringing my pickleball paddle to Seattle.
You going?
Yeah.
When are you leaving?
I'm leaving Thursday. Major League Baseball All-Star Game.
You going to Futures?
Going to Futures. Going to the Swingman Classic. Going to the Home Run
What's the
Derby.
Swingman? Oh, is that a Griffey thing?
It's the new HBCU All-Star Game that they have instituted as from Griffey. So they're going to do that. That'll be an interesting thing. It'll be on Friday night. So if you're looking for something for All-Star Weekend to check out,
Safeco or whatever it's called now?
Yeah.
What's it called now?
T-Mobile is what it's called. One of the better ballparks in America. So I'll be at that. There is a cavalcade of events that I'm looking forward to, and it should be fun. So what I'm saying is I might actually bring my pickleball paddle to that.
Just go get a random pickup game?
Why not?
I don't have that in me.
You don't have a pickup in you?
I don't. Not really. Not really. I don't have the, hey, guys, you need one more? I don't have that in me.
That's not how that's not quite how I would
from out of
approach it.
town.
I would just, I mean, clearly we know
pickleball.
how I would approach this. Hi, guys. I'm Television's Clinton Yates. Would you like to
Well, you
play
wouldn't
pickleball?
have to say it. They would
No,
ask
well,
you.
maybe, if they weren't looking because they were focused on the court, perhaps it might need to be said as an introduction. But what we will do, though, probably is we play catch, me and my buddy Jake, we play catch with a group of people, fans that we invite, like just randomly to sort of fellowship, at All-Star Weekend because a lot of people show up. We did it in Denver. It was really fun. I think we're going to do it again in Seattle.
Playing catch with somebody is, how do I want to say this without being
intimate?
You can no. Well, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
to an extent.
But I know right away what I'm dealing with.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there are a few things that I don't need to see it for an hour. I need to see it for 3 seconds.
5 throws, and I know what's going on.
I know
Yeah.
exactly what's happening.
Well, that's why we invite people that are willing to go. And the way we did it last time was this was on a whim. Probably about 20 people showed up.
That's pretty good.
Brought a bag of balls from the ballpark. I asked the clubby there. I said, hey, we got this thing going. He's like, yeah, sure, whatever, take it. So we take it over to some local park. We throw probably about 15, 20 minutes. Then we sort of break it down, got in a circle, and everybody told their baseball stories.
When do you drink the beer?
The beer
When
was
does that
after.
happen? Okay.
Because, I don't want to, it's not like that. Listen, you want to get a sponsor. Tequila Mandala wants to show up or whatever, sure, let me know. But we were basically just doing it for the love. It was also 9 a.m. So
that's early.
It was like, yeah, all right, after this, we're drinking the beers. So that's how it went.
That morning beer on a day like that, the morning beer on the golf course,
Love
those
that.
are
Love
pretty good days.
Love
Because that means that the day is getting off to the good start, and it rarely goes bad after the
That's
good
when I'm getting
start.
that's when I'm getting my seltzers in me. That's how you start that.
I had
off.
one of those this weekend.
They're not bad, bro.
Hit and miss.
Hit or miss. There's one
better too.
There's one that I like that I'm not going to say because they're not a sponsor. There's one that I love.
I had one this weekend that I really liked. We'll compare notes in a little bit. You're
Very
going
well.
to Seattle. We'll talk a little bit about the All-Star game. Clayton Kershaw named to the team for the 10th time. He will not pitch. Will Smith named to the team for the first time. He will play. That's
Nice.
next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN.
And AM 710 Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
710 ESPN.
A good karma brands radio station.
It's Travis Rogers, Alan Sliwa.
Day has the same person dropped off food at your house twice in one day. I don't
Great
know.
question.
Travis and Sliwa.
On 710 ESPN.
500 million, Yates, in pickleball injuries.
That's, yeah. Come stretch with your boy before the
what's
softball
gonna happen?
game.
Here's what's going to happen.
Good luck, guys.
Something is going to happen to me. And then, you know what I mean? Like, that's what's going to go down.
Right.
That it's going to be that I usually just kind of stand by first base, catch the ball, hit the ball. I will lightly jog to whichever base is next on the itinerary.
You're not going all out first to third.
There's going to be a ground ball that's one extra step away that I'm going to try to get. There's going to be a pop-up that's behind me that I'm going to try to turn.
Those are the dangerous ones.
You know.
Yeah, I know.
That little 180
that turn where you're
and
like,
go.
oh, and then everything, like, because you lose both your balance and your orientation at the same time, and that's never good.
It would be funny if it happens to me.
It would be
because I have been so adamantly
Just saying.
non-stretching. So you're going up to the All-Star game.
Yep.
Clayton Kershaw made the team again, as he should. He's had an All-Star caliber season. He's not going to play. I mean,
he shouldn't play.
If he did, it would be a huge mistake. Will Smith made the team for the first time. He's had all-star caliber seasons up until this point. It's the first time he's ever made it, not as a starter, as a backup to Sean Murphy in the National League. But it was nice to see him finally get realized for the player that he is, because he's not the best player on the Dodgers, but as currently constructed, he might be the most important.
And he's the best catcher in the bigs, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other guys. You can talk about Javier Mutos. You can talk about different players. But for a team of that caliber, if you're the most important player on your team and your team is that good, it's hard to say you're not the best in your position in the league, never mind the bigs overall. And the thing about him, too, is that I think that this is a nice little reward. He's a tough guy, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's where a lot of people don't realize when he got concussed a bunch earlier this season, he sat out. I was like,
it's like 3 weeks.
I was like, yo, that 3 weeks could turn into 3 months if this is really bad. And I'm not saying that because he came back from the concussion, he is a tough guy. I'm saying that separately from that, that's something about his personality that a lot of the country doesn't really understand unless you're watching him day in and day out. He doesn't necessarily play every day because other humans catch other people. But if he did, it'd be a different discussion as to what his reputation was nationally.
Yeah, he's one of those guys here in LA, right. But if you're in Cincinnati, for instance, right, and you're a Reds fan, Mookie's showing up on the highlight shows.
Sure.
Mookie's showing up online. Freddie Freeman because he's been around forever and made 1 million All-Star games.
Mm-hmm.
And, Clayton Kershaw is one of the great left-handers of his generation. But Will Smith is one of those guys, until he comes in your town, like, that guy's got 7 hits this weekend. Like, what the hell? Wait, he bats third for these guys?
Right.
Every day? He's one of those guys, and especially up until this season, where you've got the guys that we just mentioned, and you've got Cody Bellinger, who's a former MVP, and you've got Justin Turner, who not only is a fan favorite, but multiple All-Star games. You got Trey Turner. You've got Corey Seager.
It was hard to get any shine.
How are you going to get any? Chris Taylor's making All-Star games.
Right.
And to finally kind of punch through, I was happy for him.
One of the other things about this lineup that I think is interesting in terms of the All-Star lineup is, dude, Mookie's contributions on the infield have gone from beyond gimmicky to legitimate weapon in terms of if Jay Hay's going to be this productive in right field in a spot situation, I mean, Mookie's playing on the infield. And people, I've explained this before.
It solves a huge problem.
That's exactly right. And I've explained this before to people. This is not gimmicky in as much as this. The reason Mookie never went to college to play second base is very simple. His name is Tony Kemp. He plays for the A's. Tony Kemp was the freshman of the year for Vanderbilt. Mookie was then going to go to Tennessee and play second there because he wasn't going to play behind his good childhood friend. He ends up getting drafted where they sent him the right field for the Red Sox because Dustin Pedroia was at second base. The likelihood that Mookie was going to make it at second base was in fact higher when he was coming into the game from a pro standpoint than it was that he was going to make it in right to some minds. So him being back here is not a joke, y'all. The dude is an infielder.
He can play the infield for sure. It was funny. Was it yesterday or Saturday? I forget. It was yesterday or Saturday's game. He made an error.
Yeah.
Right. And it was like, oh, right. And that was the moment where you're like, oh, right.
Yeah.
That he's not just, hey, we got to cover a couple of innings. He played shortstop in high school. Put him over. He'll survive. He's a pretty good infielder. I've kind of come around on it. I still don't love it, but it solves the Dodgers have a gaping hole at shortstop offensively.
Mm-hmm.
Mookie is probably not the defender that Miguel Rojas is, but it's not a huge difference. It's close enough. And as long as Hayward / Peralta or whoever you're going to put out there can perform at a level that's close enough, it solves 2 problems.
It's not bad, and it's also one of those things where, like, I kind of need this. I'm tired of brothers getting scouted to the outfield. This dude can play it. You know what I'm saying? There's an
He can
element.
play anywhere.
There's an element of that I think is important to the image of the game. Guys who can play anywhere, more of that, please. You know what I'm saying? We talked about the Ellies of the world and these different body types that are sort of taking over the league. The idea of him being a multi-positional dude, something we used to see with some frequency back in the day. Guy would move from catcher, a Kirk Biggio type, pop out to second, move to center.
This might be a little before Darryl Thomas for the Dodgers was kind of that guy. He came up as a catcher, and then now he's playing shortstop and second base and center field. They're out there.
This used to be one of the things we celebrated in Major League Baseball, and I'm glad that Mookie's able to do this and still make an all-star team at either spot.
You said something, and I've always this is fascinating to me because good luck has so much to do with if we even know who these guys are.
Yeah.
Kurt Warner was one Trent Green injury away from you never know his name.
True.
You never know he's bagging groceries, he's in the arena, all the things that we all know about him.
Yeah.
Trent Green doesn't get hit in a preseason game. He probably doesn't play. He probably goes to another team. He's not on the greatest show on turf.
And the Rams might not be in L.A.
That's what I'm saying. It's just the butterfly effect, right? That there's one thing happens. To Mookie Betts doesn't go to Vandy. He doesn't go to Tennessee. He goes to Boston. They have an MVP at second base already. Turns into a Gold Glove outfielder.
Unbelievable.
It's just those little things that have. There's somebody somewhere that never got a shot that was really, really good, but because they already had a good guy and they're thinking, well, it just never happened for him. It has to be the right set of circumstances.
It's crazy. Also on this list, of course, just dingers, JD Martinez, who is I don't want to say rekindled his career because he's had – how to explain this? JD Martinez is one of those guys that's a much better player on a good team than he is when he's got to be the full throttle everything on an average to a bad team. Personal opinion. And it showed this season. I think that they've done a great job. Between him and J-Hay, those were two fantastic pickups in terms of what they bring to the offense. And I think JD deserves
JD Martinez, what, $10 million, one year,
1 year, $10 million.
Basically free.
A motivator in JD coming back to LA was that his hitting coach,
yes,
that he had a lot of success with, is with the Dodgers.
Exactly right. And so he's gotten back to form in a way that I think, again, if he's not on the Dodgers, does he get that All-Star nod? Perhaps not. But whatever.
Get paid again too.
But whatever he is, that could happen. That some bad team will do that.
But that's what this is, the Dodger secret sauce,
yes,
right? And I don't mean to pile on him, but it's just the one that's the most obvious right now.
No, you're good.
Tyler Anderson.
Yeah.
Right. Tyler Anderson was a very specific type of major leaguer. He's a guy that he's going to be about 500. He's going to have an ERA somewhere between 4 and 5. He's going to pitch for you, and he's going to be okay. There are going to be some days where he looks pretty good. There are going to be other days where he looks pretty mediocre.
Right.
Dodgers get their hands on him, sprinkle their little dust, whatever it is they do, and he turns into a Cy Young candidate. He's awesome. And the Dodgers said, we will give you X for X amount of years.
And that's it.
And if you can get something else, good for you.
Right.
And the Angels barf on themselves to go do it. Has not worked. Somebody's going to do the same thing with Julio. Now, Julio's a better pitcher than Brian Anderson is.
Okay.
But they have one of those things that we will give you this for this, but we're not doing it. We will find the next guy. We will get the now. Syndergaard doesn't hit, but J.D. Martinez hit, David Peralta hit,
true.
Jason Hayward hit.
Hayward's a big one too.
They all do, and
Yeah.
they're cheap and they're inexpensive. They don't do those deals where it's like, oh my god, what happened to this guy?
Right.
What happened to him is you don't have the support staff, the organization, the culture,
developmental anything. Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
They just don't do those deals.
It's the best part about what this franchise does, in my opinion. So you want me to get you something from Seattle, Tyler? You've been bringing this up all day long.
I mean,
what
like
do
if-
you want from
if
Seattle?
you're willing
What's
to,
your
you
budget?
know,
you want a
give me
signed
something?
bat from Ken Griffey Jr.? Not
All
happening.
right, I'll settle for a signed bat from Ken Griffey Jr.
I've already given this guy 2 bats in his life, and he's like,
Look,
well, I'll take one.
That's baseball is in threes.
That's
You
true.
know how
That's
this
true.
goes. Baseball's
Wow.
a sport of threes.
Managed to spin that correctly. What do you
I'm
want?
a simple man. Your dad hat game. is always
Dad
on
hat?
point.
Okay.
Dad hat game.
For
I
those
trust
of you who don't know,
I trust your judgment.
I'm strictly a dad hat guy now. I only go with white ones at this point. Do you care what color, or do you want like a throwback? Because I guarantee you there will be a plenty.
I'm gonna have to just
send me a logo of the hat that you want.
Can I make a
we can all make requests, whether they are granted or not.
I'm not
is
making
up-
a request.
Okay.
I'm making a suggestion for his dad hat.
Okay.
Get the one with the Triton.
That's a good call. I almost bought that one the last time I was
Yeah.
there. That's a good one.
That Triton logo.
Yeah,
that the
with the
Mariners
M, the
had.
under, the
Oh,
that's a
the
good look.
that's the City Connect, right?
No, it's the old logo before they went to the M. That's like
then they had style, and then they turned into that compass looking
the
thing.
compass. The compass era. That's
I
when
don't
they
mind
had
that
the
era.
teal.
That's the Ken Griffey Jr. I
Don't mind
era.
that. The logo itself doesn't look great, in my personal
Get the
opinion. The
Triton,
Triton's a
Tyler.
good call.
Okay.
Seattle Pilots also a
I'll do my
possibility.
homework.
We go Jim Bound the wings on
Pilots
the
are before your time. No, Pilots are before my time. So what do I know?
Did you read Ball 4? I know you did.
Yeah, of course I read Ball 4.
What'd you think? It's dated.
Yeah, I mean, that's an old reference. Could you please update the people for those who don't know who?
Ball 4 is a book written by a guy named Jim Bouton who pitched in the big leagues for the Yankees, went to the World Series, got released by them, caught on with a major league team called the Seattle Pilots that lasted one season. They were a and he kept a diary of the season, turned it into a book called Ball 4, which at the time was terribly scandalous.
I mean, blackballed is an understatement for what happened
Was
to him from baseball.
basically erased from the history of baseball for about 30 years. The
Yeah.
Yankees finally brought him. But he told that guys were out chasing women, drinking, doing drugs, and all of the things that we all now just take for granted.
Average day in a big league clubhouse.
Right. It is so out of date, yet still pretty damn funny.
Pretty good. He played a year for the Portland Mavericks, which is highlighted in the Battered Bastards of Baseball, my favorite baseball movie of all time, back when Bing Russell, dad of Kurt Russell, started a team in Portland. His last actual stop in professional baseball was Portland.
What do we want out of the All-Star game? Because you and I are the wrong people to have this.
Yeah.
Because you love
I'm in
baseball
for
the way
a
that I
dime. I'm
do.
in for $100.
I still, nerd alert coming, okay?
Okay.
One of my favorite, and they don't even do it anymore. One of my favorite things that they did was when they would line up on the foul lines and you saw all those different uniforms.
That was cool.
next to each other.
What do you mean they don't do that anymore?
They don't do that
They'd
anymore.
have uniforms for the All-Star game.
What do you mean? When was the last time you watched an All-Star game?
I guess it's been longer than I thought it
Goodness
was. I thought they
gracious.
did the lineup thing.
No,
still.
they do it.
They line them up, but they're all wearing the same uniform.
I see
So
what you're
I can
saying.
tell
Okay.
you, and I can tell you the evolution of this. So where it went from was guys would wear their own jerseys, two guys would wear the same jerseys, two guys would wear the same jerseys, even in the home run derby.
Yeah.
They have since come back from that. So you wear your own jerseys in the home run derby, but you still have uniforms in the All-Star
Seeing
uniforms. in the
Johnny
All-Star game.
Bench next to Steve Garvey,
Yep.
next to Reggie Jackson, next to George Brett. It
Iconic.
was super fun. I get it. I'm a dork. All those things.
Iconic.
The game itself now, I was reading it this morning. I think there's 42 guys that are going to be in the All-Star team this year that are either first or second timers. Okay, it's a lot of
That's
young
a lot.
guys. It's a ton.
In Denver, there were 34, I think.
I'm going by memory, but
Sure.
it jumped out at me as a super high number. So you're not getting Clayton Kershaw going at Ohtani a couple times.
No,
you're
that's
not
not
getting
happening.
it. With the introduction of interleague play 25 years ago, the specialness of Trout facing Clayton Kershaw is gone.
Yeah.
They face each other all the time. What do we want? I still love it because I'm a baseball person,
Yeah.
but what does the average guy get out of the All-Star? I get why people are like, this is stupid. I get it.
I don't know. I mean, I go now all the time, so it's hard for me to gauge because being there is the draw. You know
Sure.
what I'm saying? Just being in the building and seeing all of the dudes. And I know that sounds like kind of a thing, but you work hard for it and maybe you get a little payoff on something that's actually your job. It's a bonus. I like being there because the other thing too
But before
is
it was a good baseball.
It was a good
the
baseball
guys
game.
would play 7 or 8 innings. Now you might get 1 or 2. You get one at bat and you come out.
it's more of a
it's
celebration of
it's a
each
weird
dude.
deal.
It's more of a celebration of each dude than it is anything else. A guy has a good season in his hometown or his fan base gets to celebrate him in that moment. It's much more of that because of the way also the internet has changed things. You know what I'm saying? It's not just that the baseball is something that changes in terms of the competition. You can see anybody all the time now. The highlights are everywhere. It's not like, okay, sure, you might not have seen an interleague matchup, but you also weren't going to see the guy play at all unless he came to your town. Now it's like, okay, they might not face each other, but you at least know who they are for the most part if you're a big baseball fan. I'm looking forward to it. Seattle's such a great sports town.
Yep.
And Griffey being back there, that all plays into it for me. It's a year-to-year story what the draw is, and this year, it's the kid.
Like the NBA All-Star game for a long time. So this is silly. This doesn't even.
That is
resemble
something I could do without.
a
Yeah.
basketball. It doesn't even resemble a basketball game. This is really silly. This is kind of trending in that direction, and it kind of bumps me. And it's not even trending. It is there.
Pete Alonso's back in the home run derby.
Nobody cares
Vladdy.
more.
Nobody cares more. Nobody
more.
ever has or ever will. Mets fans' biggest the Super Bowl every year for Mets fans is Pete Alonso in the daggone home run derby. 'Cause their
Mookie
team
going to
stinks.
do all right?
I think Adley Rutschman's going to win this thing. Catcher for the O's.
Why him?
He is a hoss, and I think he's one of those guys that is not going to be worried about getting some repeatability element in his swing. He's just going to try as hard as he can, and he's a power hitter.
Well, I remember seeing Julio Rodriguez last year.
J-Rod is also a very strong favorite.
And he's at home.
Yeah, that's
he
a
might
factor.
be a little
But
extra
that's-
motivated.
There's also a little pressure with that, though.
There's a lot of pressure with that. It's going to be Alonso. It's always Alonso, right? Lakers make some moves. They made the right moves. That's next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN. And ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes building or bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Sliwa.
But do you think it's the right move? Do you think it's the right strategy?
No. Live from LA Live on 710 ESPN.
Just got a text from Mace. He's going to put himself in the DH position this year.
Okay.
What do we make of that?
I don't recall him hitting the ball out of the infield. I mean, I'm not even being funny.
That's why I'm asking.
I'm not even being funny. Do I? And I don't just mean like on the ground. Like, did he get on base?
I don't remember.
Sans error?
I remember that Beto hit a home run, I hit a home run, Burke hit a home run.
Right.
And then Beto, I think, hit a second one to win the game.
Beto hit two.
Beto and I and Burke went back to back to back.
Right, but homers aside, I'm saying there were base hits in the game.
But there were, but the final score was something like 8-7. Or
right.
It wasn't. There weren't a ton of runs, is my point.
No,
which
there weren't.
Means there weren't
I scored
a lot
half
of people
the runs on our team. Yeah, that's true.
There weren't a lot of people on base.
Now that I think about that, I was the only one that got on base and scored all those runs that wasn't a home run hitter.
Did you keep score? You have a very comprehensive
because I remember that was
of
one of the worst things that I did is that I didn't get the ball in the air, but I got on base 4 times and I scored every single time because everybody hit a homer behind me. That's all I did. And so
not everybody, Kirk,
right? Well, pardon me. Every time it was hit behind me, and so the reason I'm thinking about that is because I remember. Oh man, Greg got on base. Greg hit the ball. Greg got a base hit.
Corporate Greg
got a base hit. Briones got a base hit, and so did Ruiz, but they were all sort of singles. But I don't remember Mace.
They're table setters.
Get it? Yeah, that's fine. You know that you need the runs. I don't remember Mace hitting the ball, and I'm just trying to figure out is that actually the best position for him, besides say, I don't know, somewhere
Who's our
else.
center
precautionary
fielder
for Mace.
So you look at our roster: Mace, Sedano, myself, Ron Mitchell, Justin Schafflander, the Big CY.
I think
Momo,
Sedano plays
second base.
No, I think Sedano plays third. And
where's Momo play?
I think Andy Kamenetsky plays second. Andy Kamenetsky plays center, and I think Momo plays second.
I think they're planning on putting Schafflander at third because he's got a cannon. I think the plan is to put Sedano at second.
Okay, but I mean, it's an old man softball game. The usage of a cannon at third base is probably not really that.
25 miles per hour.
Let's talk about this.
Yeah,
I've been saying this forever. This is why Momo is completely undervalued. What you need, there are 3 elements you need in a softball game like this. You need to be able to throw it kind of, sort of accurately.
Yeah, accuracy is more important than cannon.
She can.
Right.
If the ball's thrown to you,
you need to be able to catch it. Yes.
She can. Can you put the bat on the ball? She can.
Okay.
She's one of the few people that's 3 for 3 in these things.
I get it, and that's why she's definitely. And the fourth element here is: do you know where to go with the ball? That is the number one thing for me because there's nothing I can't stand more than people throwing at incorrect bases. So I think. I think
that you're approaching this like it's the CIF championship.
No, not at all, though. That's the thing. If it was the CIF championship, I wouldn't have to say a word because everybody knows how to play baseball. You know what I mean?
You'd be surprised.
That's my thing. If it was an actual thing, I mean, whatever, that would totally change it. I don't know who can do what at this stage, but I do know that most of the people on our team, I feel like, know the game well enough that this is not really a huge issue. And, what a cannon at third, great. But I don't think anybody is ranging to their right to make some Manny Machado.
I'm just letting you know
play.
what their plan is.
There's no point
based
in
off
that.
what I've heard.
Let's assume that Mason's still listening for a second. Mason, can you catch both? And I mean that in both the position sense and in the literal sense. That if there's a play at the plate and we throw it to him,
can you catch the ball? Yeah, I think Emily's got to be our catcher.
I think we may run into that problem though.
Really,
I don't know if you or I turn around and have to
bring
cut
it.
one loose. I
Right.
don't know if that's a great plan.
That's a good point.
Because I don't want to bounce it and have it.
Emily can catch the ball. I delivered a bad throw to Emily that she did not catch last year. I remember that. It was a bang-bang play, and I was trying to backhand it. That was stupid. Emily can catch the ball. I know that.
Has she suffered any injuries on her vacation?
That's an excellent question. But she did send me a picture of her at, of all places, Coors Field.
Oh, she go to a game?
She went to a game, and I noticed one thing, and you are going to appreciate this a lot. She sends me a picture of her, her setup. The lines weren't on the field. And I was like, oh, you got
She's
there
early.
early. You're watching BP. I was impressed. She was like, yeah, I get to the park at this hour. I was like, okay. I did not know that's like a old school. I mean,
it is.
That's a thing that if you cover or really like baseball, you're getting to the ballpark when the gates open so you can see them do that.
Stuff that's really stupid.
Exactly.
You're going to see. Remember Javi Lopez caught for the Braves?
Of course.
Okay.
He wore number 8.
He wore number 8. At a Dodger game, they're playing in Atlanta, and in Dodger Stadium, people know this. Those 2 giant posts with the big speakers on them that sit in center field, right? He hit one off the top of the speaker.
Oh, my God.
During batting practice. Now, I get it. It's batting practice. They're laying it in there. That's 500 feet away from home plate if it's an inch.
Right.
And it hit the top of the speaker. Oof. You can only see those things.
You're not seeing that in the middle of a game. So, no, Emily's – we do not know – I do not know, rather, if she has sustained any injuries. I think we'll be fine.
We got to figure out catcher and center field. These are the things. We need to have like an organizational meeting. We need to.
That's what Mace is here for. I mean, I think Cam in center. I think the gun is more useful. Schlaflinder's cannon more useful in the outfield for what this game serves.
And he'll catch it too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he's more useful in the outfield for what this game serves than on the infield.
All right, so the Lakers relative, I should say, to what they've done over the last few years as far as star hunting, pretty quiet in free agency. They re-signed their own guys, Hachimura 3 for 51, D'Angelo Russell 2 for 37, which, by the way, way under the $30 million or so he was expecting maybe going into that trade. Austin Reeves, 4 years, $56 million. And then their free agent acquisitions, 3 years, $33 million for Gabe Vincent. 1 year, $4.5 million for Taurean Prince. Jackson Hayes, 2 years, $4.5 million. And then Cam Reddish, 2 years, veterans minimum. None of those, other than maybe the Austin Reeves one and Hachimura, who people were very excited about, is, hey, we got who?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. It's very middle of the road, very build an organization, very don't mess with what works, and I love it.
I would say
absolutely love it.
No eyebrows raised in either direction. Yeah. And that's a good thing. You know, none of the, who? Because there have been a couple of those. This offseason, Houston Rockets, I'm talking to you. And also none of those where you're
what the hell are they doing?
I don't know. Unserious organization. completely unserious organization. I don't even know. But what I'm saying is that, like, if no eyebrows are raised, even if for good reasons, you're not like going crazy over, wow, look who's coming, or you're just also not like, that's a good thing. Very, very good thing.
They have a team that makes sense.
Yeah.
And for the first time in a long time, they had a team that made sense, that they didn't say, well, what if we – there was none of that, right? Because go back to the championship game, or the championship team they had in the bubble.
Yeah.
It's LeBron, it's AD, it's KCP, it's Caruso, it's Danny Green, it's JaVale McGee, it's Dwight Howard. I'm probably forgetting Rondo, right? So
Keith too, yeah.
You've got these guys that make a lot of sense, and it's like, okay, well, as long as we have AD and LeBron, we'll figure all the rest out. And they were chasing it every season after that. This is the first time where, at the deadline, they made moves that made sense to form a team.
So you don't want to blow you want to blow it up for Dame? I mean, you were talking big stuff.
I love Dame. I love Dame, but that's not what they need, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. If you could find a way to get Dame in, I would love it.
Yeah.
But what you would have to do to get Dame in is start doing crazy stuff. And crazy stuff doesn't work.
I was really
It
just
doesn't
transitioning
work.
so that Tyler could play his sound of how things are going in Portland.
What
for
did I
people.
miss?
Apparently, Portland is beside themselves about what could possibly happen with Dame leaving. Let's hear it.
But yeah, dude, I don't know.
This is a guy
I
talking
don't
to a
know.
guy
Yeah.
at a Starbucks.
I don't know if I can be a Blazer fan. Yeah. Are they cooking something up? Like, is there any chance that they figure something out and Dame has to stay?
therapy
Is anyone
session.
behind you?
There is one person behind me.
Okay. Well, then I'll take your order.
He goes, is there anybody behind you?
Let me tell you something.
terrific.
That is a very Yatesian conversation. That's the kind of stuff that happens to me all the time. All the time. Where guys would be like, all right, well, and they'll just unload. And I don't have a problem with it at all. This is part of the fun part. But that dude, I've never had it happen to me like that, where somebody just poured their soul out on the job, regardless of what was happening around them. All right, I'll take your order.
And this was just into the speaker box.
Right,
He's
yeah,
not
the
actually
guy
looking
can't
at him.
see him. And I'm
Hey,
like,
man.
how did this come up? I think I'm guessing what happened was there was a bumper sticker or something, or maybe the guy was wearing a jersey and he could see them through the camera and therefore brought it up.
Oh,
you know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Because that's the
Yeah.
only reason that
that's
would
a
even
good guess.
happen. But like, that was, I mean, I could feel that.
Or plan B, therapy's expensive, right? And so you see somebody that maybe has the jersey.
Yeah.
You're like, look, man, I'm just going to empty myself. I'm going to spill my guts, and I'm going to unburden myself. And like, look, no matter what, when you talk, you feel better.
That's true.
It's hard to get started, but once you get started, you feel better.
I'm saying, I've been there where that guy when he asked him, is there anybody behind you? And he just kind of goes, yeah, there's one car. Like, I would listen, but I really kind of got to go.
All right, I'll
You
just
know what
take
I'm
your
saying?
order then.
That was
This
tough.
probably doesn't come as a huge surprise to you.
What's that?
If I were just so I have it in my head right, the employee of Starbucks is unburdening himself.
Correct.
To the customer.
On the customer who
Okay.
cannot see him,
If I
who
were
is
the
looking
customer,
at the menu.
It would be yeah, dude, I don't care. I need a venti iced coffee, no sugar. That's
Yesterday.
It. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's great.
man.
There is somebody behind me. You can unburden yourself to him with this.
That's the difference between you and me, man. Alas.
I don't
Don't
need
have
it.
time. Don't have
I
time.
don't need
Very
it.
funny. I love that clip. I love that clip.
Why?
Because
not why do you like it, but just wait till you call your friend,
No,
call your
man.
wife or your sister, your brother, your dad, your grandpa. Like unburden yourself to somebody that's invested in this with you.
feel free to unburden yourselves on your boy. if
Give
you
out
see
your
me in
cell phone
public.
on the air,
No,
man.
not doing that. Trust me.
How see this is I don't believe you anymore. If you really
You
are
want to? Okay, you got to. You know, if you really want to go, just take a walk with me somewhere. One of these days after the show, we're just going to take a
boy.
walk to the local establishment.
Oh, boy.
See what happens. See what happens.
we'll have to
to
wear
do that later.
disguise.
Well, no.
No, but he will be changing his attire.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I had no TV today, so there's no need to do that. So YouTube, it's a little different, but I don't mind. Unburden yourselves.
That red sweatshirt's a very look at me color.
It is. There's a little bit of a look at me, but I'm kind of a
Your television's Clinton.
People have been
Yates.
looking at me for a long time, Playboy.
The era of transfer portal basketball is open. Do we like it? I don't. That's next. It's Travis Lee, 710 ESPN. Christopher, I've been hearing that Twitter is going to be dead for quite some time. Did something happen this weekend?
So, as you know, we take a lot of questions from the bird, as we like to call it in the streets. This
is what they're calling it in the streets.
We get a lot of content.
That and the talk.
Exactly. We get a lot
on
of
the
content.
bird or you on the talk? The bird talk bird.
Bird talk is probably how you would refer to it, as in people on talk talking about the bird. Anyway, we get a lot of content and feedback from listeners and viewers on Twitter. If we had been doing this show 2 days ago, that wouldn't have been an option. There was a situation that unfolded in which, for whatever reason, and these reasons are well beyond not my understanding, but how I feel like I want to explain on air. Basically, Twitter didn't pay a bill, and you could not look at tweets beyond like the first allegedly 600 that showed up on your feed, but you'd be surprised how quickly you scroll to read 600.
So, okay, go on.
And then all of a sudden, it was just deadlocked. You couldn't check your replies. You couldn't really tweet. Your rate limit had been exceeded. That's what it said on everybody's thing. And it was just like that for 2 whole days sitting there. It was unbelievable. I was like, yo, this thing might actually be dead. Am I wrong? Did you guys
Yeah,
not?
no,
did this not affect your lives?
It entirely affected.
Like
and
I might
and
be at
also asked
right.
that.
I might be at a point where, look, as much as I love interacting on the shows and with the listeners on the bird, the generalized idea of like public thought, if the daggone thing that we all do this on just doesn't even work, bro, I think I'm good.
Okay. I don't know anything about anything. Okay? Literally.
Imagine if, even more so than normally, you tweeted and nobody saw it.
Right.
And that's just it. Like, not even didn't reply, not didn't RT it, just didn't see it, and you couldn't see anybody else's either. Why would you ever be there?
Which brings me to my question/point. There are a lot of smart people out there, right? Why doesn't somebody go, this I almost did it for the second time in my life.
Today, yeah.
I almost did it. I almost did the S-bomb right there. This stuff doesn't work anymore. I'm a programmer at Apple or Google.
What are we waiting for?
Instagram. Like, what? This doesn't seem like it'd be super, other than to get everybody to move over, which would be the complicated part, I guess.
Yeah.
But why doesn't somebody just come up with another one of these things that works the same way, like Reels on Instagram kind of wiped out Snapchat?
There's a little bit of a critical mass element to it, and there's also just it's
habit,
not too big to
inertia.
fail, but inertia is an element, and also the main problem is that Twitter wasn't exactly a big moneymaker. It was just really popular, and that's the thing. It was just free, and everybody liked it. It's hard to replace something like that. The analogy I used is, imagine if you went to the park to watch your son play ball. You go to take a drink at the fountain, and you got to pay $1 every time. You're never drinking there again. Not because you love water at the fountain so
to
much.
your point, though, is just I would start bringing my own.
Exactly, but you'd then have your own water. But if the water fountain was the most popular thing at the park, then you've got a problem, or whatever it may be. Like, that's not the best analogy in the world, but just in terms of availability and what your thought is, it was
did you
really
go into a
weird.
Cold sweat? Did your hands get clammy?
I have been removing myself from said operation for some while. I was actually
Where are you going?
very okay again.
No, I'm really asking.
The talk. A lot of I thought you were setting me up.
No, I
a
wasn't.
lot of people were really hand-wringing over this, like, because some people's actual jobs depend on that site, legitimately. And it was one of the first times that I feel like I saw something digitally. I'm not going to say since Y2K. It wasn't quite that. But there's a level of panic digitally about what is the future of this site that's pretty real. Tyler, am I wrong here?
You're not wrong, man. You are not wrong. People were genuinely fearful. And I think, Travis, just to go back to your point about why doesn't somebody else try and do this, I think there are other
people are trying
platforms. There's this Blue Sky. I don't know if you heard of it.
Yeah,
I'm sure you have.
I've heard of Blue Sky.
It's basically a transition away from Twitter that's a lot like Twitter. But the problem is that we're creatures of habit. And so we're having a really difficult time always with something like this, transitioning away.
I saw a tweet from my homegirl Kennedy, who covers the Texas Rangers. MLB.com. She said, she's a young person. She said, legitimately, what did y'all do when you covered games outside of being on Twitter as well? Like, you just sat there and watched the game? Like, you didn't have any
You would
other
write
information?
a story at the end of the game.
Which she still does.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, like, her point was, like, this is such a value add, even for people who do the job, that it was like, and it was like legitimately like, whoa, like you feel like you've lost something that was actually helpful. Not everybody was on there just smoking and joking.
The
what I mean?
highlight portion of it is interesting. Like when you're you're staring at your phone and you get the notification that something cool happened
Boom.
over here. I do like that.
Right.
I do like that. But the constant stream of inane
nonsense?
updates.
No, I don't
and I'm
need
not
that.
even talking like I had a sandwich for. I'm talking about they just removed this picture for that. I don't care.
Sure.
Right?
Or training camp updates on routes that guys are running when they're at like Irvine or whatever.
Killing the 9 route. Absolutely. Tutu Atwell has been killing the 9.
Don't need that. But the
Right.
general idea that all of a sudden this thing that we all came together to be on, to talk to each other, just went away. Low-key panic. It was an interesting weekend in these bird streets. I'm just trying to come up with things to make Travis laugh now.
Streets.
I'm just trying to come up with different slang for Twitter to make Travis laugh. It was weird.
You should be writing these down. So
I know. Well, you know.
I'm going to be on the talk. The talk. The T, not TALK.
No, not
TOK. Right.
talk.
I'll
The
be
talk.
on the talk.
Right.
Never.
Right. I could get into all of my theories as to why TikTok is a different and necessary thing versus Twitter, because that's another story. But yeah, man, I just need you to know, you might want to find callers are going to be more required for the Ask Sleaze going forward if Twitter is continuing in this direction.
What I thought initially it was they were limiting the sender to 300 or
Everybody.
600 or what it is.
Everybody was banged out.
Because most of the tweets are a sentence or two long.
Again, no, it wasn't characters within the tweet. It was the number you could look at. So you'd scroll once, you looked at 500 because you scroll, boom, day over.
Old man alert.
Especially if you're on
coming
an iPad. Forget about it.
Right.
Not just on the Twitter factor, but the Damian Lillard. I like Damian Lillard. I think whoever gets him will be a much better team than they were prior to getting him. What I don't like is that every guy that's got a deal with a team, whether there's 1 year left on the deal, whether there's 2 or 5 or whatever, the second that the ink is dry on the contract, if they don't like what's happening with their squad, they can blow it up. They can say, "Get me out of here." I'm pro player. If you said to me, "Are you on management?" I'm on the player side. I like them making all the money. I like them having a voice at the table on how their teams are constructed. What I don't like is 1 year into a 5-year deal, somebody says, "Yeah, you're not really showing me anything. I want to get the hell out of here." I don't like it. There has to be some investment on if I'm the owner and you're the player, and I'm giving you a 5-year, $100 million deal. If at the end of the first year you don't like it, it's like, we have to do this together. You have to stay here and help me try to do this. If you give me 4 of the 5 years and I can't get my you-know-what together and you want out, that makes sense to me. But right away, every single season, somebody, it seems like, whether it's Kevin Durant or whether it's James Harden, and Lillard's not a great example because he's been there a long time. Lillard falls more into the category of the ones that I can kind of get with. But every single year, just new guys on new teams despite long-term deals.
I will tell you this, and I didn't think about this earlier. One thing that changes this element, too, is that you're operating on the premise that owners want to win. Owners these days are not as concerned
But if you're
about
signing James Harden
winning
to a contract, don't you want to win?
as they are about putting butts in the seats, maybe. But as they are about putting butts in the seats, and oftentimes, because these guys who buy these teams now, they're not the same humans that invested in whatever. They're not everybody is a Dr. Buss who leveraged everything to get a squad that was the only thing he cared about. They are playthings for billionaires. And so the idea that a guy wants to go somewhere else, it's like, all right, I don't even want the headache. Both things have changed in terms of both sides of that equation, and I don't think it's made it better for fans. Now, some fans who like chaos, sure, but there's been a lot of things that have changed in those 20 years.
That's where I'm coming from, though, Clinton, is as a fan of sports, and basketball is the worst example of this. A ton of this doesn't happen in the NFL.
No.
It doesn't happen in Major League.
I mean, guys move, but guys move because you
they move
structurally.
on a much more predictable pattern, right? It's not Aaron Donald doesn't sign a new 5-year deal and the Rams go 5-12. He's like, "Get me the hell out of here." It doesn't work like that in football and baseball. Just as a fan, I like knowing that Magic Johnson was going to be here for a long time.
Yeah.
And I know that he got a point where he was going to ask for a trade. I know that this goes back
Kobe
a long time.
asked to be traded to the Clippers. Yes,
but
yes.
there was also one of this, we'll figure it out. We'll make it work. Not, I literally want out of here the way James Harden's asked for a trade 3 different times in his career.
It's not great. But again, the Lakers are probably the worst possible example to compare this to because they actually have had a literal family that's owned the team the entire time.
Do you like what they did in the last weekend?
I think that it's what I've been asking for. Whether or not I like it depends on the success, because I've said all along, run your franchise like the modern NBA works. It works. Look at the teams that win. Or do you want to be the Lakers in the context of, we just get who we want. We just pluck them out of the sky and we're going to be good. Or do you want to be the Lakers in the context of a consistently competitive team? Those two things over the last 20 years have changed in terms of how you do them. I think they're finally getting towards the point where it's not about like being like everybody else. It's about doing the smartest thing for the talent available versus the competition you have, and they're closer to that.
They're kind of a hybrid,
yeah,
right? Because for going back to the beginning of time, they've always been able to go find the big name. You got Wilt Chamberlain, you get Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you get Shaquille O'Neal, you get Pau Gasol,
like pick Magic,
LeBron James, but they also draft Magic Johnson, they draft James Worthy, they find the Michael Coopers and the Derek Fishers and all of the and not the big name, but a Rick Fox or a Robert Horry. They
example.
Kind of put these guys into the right positions to do it, as opposed to, hey, Russell Westbrook's a really big name. Just put those 3 guys together, and who gives a damn what the other 12 guys on the team are?
Right.
This is more of a hybrid of the two. It's the first time in 3 years I've been really excited about not only where they are, but the forks in the road. They're all appealing.
Are you so excited you're going to watch Summer League?
I'll watch Summer League to see a thing or two, but I'm not watching Summer League.
Messing around.
No, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I will watch. I want to watch Wembanyama.
It's like what I'm saying is that I might be watching Summer League. Like, I need to see what's going on with some of these draft picks. These young guys that are getting in the league now. What are we looking at?
Are you a college basketball guy at all?
Not remotely.
Nor am I. You could tell me 10 college basketball players, and if 8 of them were made up, I wouldn't know.
I mean, I stopped liking college basketball after I basically got out of college.
But my point is that this summer league, other than Wembanyama, Scoot, 1 or 2 other guys, maybe not even 1 or 2 other guys. There's a couple of guys I know. After that, like the Hood Shafino guy.
All I'm saying is the Lakers are a team in summer league that, as likely as any franchise, to come up with a guy out of that might actually contribute to the team. That's what my point is. They tend to do that. That this has happened before.
The dump is coming up next. It's Travis Slee, 710 ESPN. Hey, if you get hurt in an accident, you need to know that not all personal injury attorneys are created the same. Sweet James has been awarded Best Attorneys in America in personal injury. It's what they do. It's all they do. They don't put their own time, energy, resources, expertise into strengthening your case so they can win your case. And that success is driven by their passion to help their clients. And so where's the passion come from? Sweet James used to work for the insurance companies, saw how the insurance companies treated their customers, and said, no, that's not how that's supposed to go. Do not take on the insurance companies by yourself. You're going to need someone to advocate for you, not get it done on their end, but for you, and that's why you call Sweet James Accident Attorneys, because the law firm you choose absolutely matters. You want experience, nearly 20 years. A winning record helping injured victims get the medical care they needed with life-changing settlements. Life-changing settlements, over $1 billion collected in that period of time. That's what we're talking about with an injured record. So if you're hurt, car, truck, motorcycle accident, dog bite, whatever it may be, call Sweet James, 1-800-9-MILLION. That's 1-800-9-MILLION, 1-800-900-0000, and sweetjames.com. All right, happy birthday. Happy 61st birthday to none other than Tom Cruise.
Really?
Tom Cruise, 61 years old.
He's got a movie coming out, too.
Mission Impossible 9 or 10 or whatever number
Mission
it is.
Impossible, Dark Thunder.
I think they've actually given up the number.
I can just make
Is it just Mission
I
Impossible?
was going to say, I don't think the numbers are even an element
The
anymore.
final countdown or something.
Right.
It's not like Fast and Furious that they keep naming or
Which
numbering.
Okay, we're not going to listen. We're not going to knock the Fast.
I'm
and
not
the
knocking it. I'm
Furious
just saying they
franchise.
keep the number
lifestyle.
in it.
Okay,
You know who's a
genius move, by the way.
Speaking of low key, on God, no cap.
Yes. That's a win.
Susan Rogers, the lovely Susan Rogers, low key, on God, no cap, Fast and Furious fan.
Good.
Loves them.
She knows what great American entertainment looks like. They asked them, why do they keep making these movies? Because people keep watching them.
Yeah.
That's all the only reason you need.
Favorite Tom Cruise movie?
Favorite Tom Cruise
Your favorite,
movie?
not necessarily your favorite.
Probably A Few Good Men, where he walks around the Capitol Hill row house with a baseball bat because it's his thinking piece.
Yeah.
I like that movie a lot.
Not bad.
Jerry Maguire for me.
Jerry Maguire's pretty good.
Not a fan of that movie.
What?
Why not?
Just it's a chick flick that
Yeah.
dressed up as a sports
It's okay.
movie. Didn't like it. I just don't think it's that funny.
It's not meant to be that funny, is it?
What's it supposed to be?
It's like you said. It's supposed to be about the love story between.
I
him
guess
and
I
the
guess
girl.
I like a lot more comedy in my rom-coms. I need rom-coms to be genuinely funny. That movie's not that funny.
The only funny scene is when Rod or Rob Tidwell?
Rod I think.
Tidwell.
I think it's a D, yeah.
When he's with Roy Firestone and he's trying to make him cry.
Right.
You had to be a deep Sports Center / ESPN watcher to get that reference.
I mean, I wonder what percentage of the listenership knows who Roy Firestone is at this point. But
It's a dated
probably
reference.
50-50, but yeah.
Give me Top Gun.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's iconic, it's predictable, and it's awesome. And
I feel like that movie. Maybe this is because I'm not in the Top Gun route, but like I feel like that movie is bigger than Tom Cruise. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel like when
but it's definitively a Tom
I
Cruise
get that,
movie.
but like now that I see that, but because of who Tom Cruise is, I don't know. Maybe that's just because I don't care about Top Gun. But that's not the first movie I think about when I think about Tom Cruise. Not remotely. I'd probably think about Mission Impossible first.
Were you not a Top Gun fan?
Not really. I mean, you know, we've been over this a million times. What's there's one black guy in Top Gun. His name is Sundown. Like, bro,
They've had another one in the new one.
Not a good start. Right.
They had another guy. I forget his name.
That's two.
It wasn't Sundown.
I hope it's something better than that. All right, because Sundown ain't a good one. Just in case you're wondering.
Sunshine, maybe.
And what's it? Maverick didn't like Sundown. Remember
Okay.
they had a little pushing match.
I'm sure Sundown didn't like him either. If I meet a guy named Maverick and I'm in a place or anywhere where the word Sundown's getting used, yeah, we're out of there, buddy.
Hey, Back to the Future came out in 1985 today.
Okay, solid movie.
Yeah,
solid movie. What's my favorite actual film of the series in Back to the Future? The third, where they're in the
Is that
West.
the Old West
Where
one?
they're in the West. They take that train right into the time portal. I
Yeah.
think that's the best one.
I like that
My
one
favorite one,
because
rather.
Mary Steenburgen is in it. And
Yes,
I like
correct.
her.
Okay,
and she's good. But
Yeah.
the first one is the second one's just where
Second
the
one's
dystopian future.
Second one's the most popular one though because it had all the cool toys.
It might have made
the hoverboard
most
and all
money.
that.
Yeah, but I don't know. The one going back to the 50s, Elizabeth Shue's in the second.
She's in the first one.
I think she's in both.
I think
Yeah,
no,
she's in
no,
both.
She's
Is
not
she
in the
not?
first one. She's not.
She's not?
She's number one on the list. I'm
Very well.
Yeah.
Very well. She's been on my big board for many years as well, so I understand where you're getting at. She beat Miyagi and Daniel-san's mom to him on the mat at the end of Karate Kid because she cared the most. That's what Elizabeth Shue did.
This bothers me a great deal. What you just said is accurate. Then in the beginning of Karate Kid 2, they turn her in to be a monster where she just ditches Daniel because she goes to UCLA and meets a football player.
I mean,
she's either in or she's out.
If the Gauchos had asked you to transfer from Santa Barbara to UCLA to pitch, and they said, we'll throw in Elizabeth Shue in the deal.
They had their chance.
What would you have said? Right. Stop it. Come on.
National Fried Clam Day. Yay or nay?
I don't like clams fried. I like them sautéed. I like a clam, but I don't need the breading. They're good enough on their own. When I was a kid, I used to eat linguine and clam sauce lean cuisines all the time. Little did I know that was a real dish that when I grew up and could order as an adult, I would order all the time linguine and clams. Love it.
Those, I think they're the razor ones, the strip ones. Those fried are pretty good.
Yeah, those are not bad.
You get to dip those in
Those
a little
are not bad.
cocktail sauce or a little horseradish.
I don't eat a lot of fried food. If it ain't chicken, I'm not eating a lot of fried food.
What's the matter with you?
I just,
Because you want to live healthy and live a long time, or you don't like
pretty
it?
much, yeah. pretty much.
It's going to be the primary reason he doesn't get hurt. At the
Yeah.
Well, so here's the thing, and this is probably just me being hopeful more than anything else. I'm a big subscriber to you're going to get what you're going to get. Your genes are going to determine 98% of this stuff.
Right.
So I'm going to eat the fried
playing the
clams.
numbers
I'm
game
going
on
to
that.
eat those French fries again. That's how it's
Okay.
going to go. It's National Chocolate Wafer Day, like the little cookie kind of thing.
Yeah.
Why do we have a day for that?
Don't ask me.
It's a fantastic little treat.
Is it?
Is that so?
I think so.
What do you eat with chocolate wafers?
You can dip them in coffee, although it's a risky play because
You're dipping coffee?
Break it off.
Are you 75 years old?
It's a risky play because they dissolve so quickly.
Hold on, you're dunking things in your coffee. When I think of that, I think of like an old man with a rotary phone and a newspaper. Dunking things in coffee. That's wild.
Sometimes
with
I'll
the glass bowl of
dunk
butterscotch
things in my coffee.
Right, Werther's Originals.
Wafers are dangerous, though, because they dissolve so quickly.
That's true. Yeah, the composition of those is not great for those kind of things.
I'm not if we're dipping like fried clams, you can dip in a little coffee. But just generally dipping things into your beverage is a losing problem. I don't want to dip my donut.
So you're not doing fries. You're not doing fries and soda.
Fries and soda.
That's an
Milkshake.
old school like baseball camp
I've heard the
move. Yeah,
milkshake.
milkshake soda, same difference at that point.
Really?
Yeah.
So fries with the milkshake, at least it doesn't make it
it's
soggy right away.
it's a similar vein of move. Things you get out of a fountain from a fast food restaurant.
Okay. So in the grand scheme of things, today there's another national day going on right now. It's National Air Conditioning Appreciation Day.
Oh,
in the grand
greatest
scheme
invention
of human inventions,
top one.
It's
not close.
number one, right?
Not close. AC is a close second to. Not even second, it's a cousin of the general concept of, refrigeration, which has kept us alive from an eating standpoint for many centuries. Refrigeration, top one, AC, derivative of such.
There's places where you simply couldn't live without. Phoenix is what, like the 7th or 8th biggest city in America now?
Yeah, it's not happening.
You can't live in Phoenix.
There's no AC in Europe. Did
Well,
you know that?
yes,
but look how far north
that's
Phoenix
also
is.
a residential thing. You go into commercial businesses, people have AC. But what I'm saying is the population would be halved if we did not, like the global population.
Why does Europe hate a nice time? Why can't they have a nice chilled house?
They care more about what things look like than rather what they feel like.
No, it is a top one development in the history of the world. It is National Eat Beans Day. I think we can skip that.
Yeah, I think we
like
can skip
beans,
that.
but I don't feel like that's something I have to race out and observe.
How do we get all these days now? Eat beans.
Everything
day?
has a day.
I know, but this is a lot for one day.
National
I guess
Clean Your
I
Glasses
feel like the
Day.
food days really, really line up in the summer. You know what I'm saying? Like because kids have it off, and so you can like.
Somebody somewhere had a National Enchilada Day because the Mexican restaurants all got together and said, "Let's trick everybody into coming in tonight."
I don't mind that.
No,
I don't mind that.
But chocolate wafer.
Like
they have a lobby?
if I can't eat everything on the food day schedule at the same time on the same day, that feels weird to me.
I'm with you on that. Let's do a little Supercross talk.
ESPN AM 710 Los Angeles. KRDC AM 1110 Pasadena, Los Angeles.
K256CX 99.1 FM Pasadena, Los Angeles.
It's the greatest segment in LA sports radio history.
Oh my God. When the shows come together for magic on the radio.
It will only grow stronger. Super Crosstalk.
Are we ready for Mason and Ireland to join Travis and Slee?
Super Crosstalk begins. Super Crosstalk presented by In-N-Out Burger. In-N-Out. That's what a hamburger is all about.
It's time for Super Crosstalk.
Are we doing the woo-woos?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have
sure.
a quick topic based on quick developments that just happened. AK just came in here and nearly spilled tea all over the entire situation. But didn't.
If
I
Mason
believe
would have been here, he would have. Mason
Slee fried his laptop last week.
Okay, so I believe I was listening last week when Slee fried his laptop, and then you insinuated that he should backdoor try to get a computer out of Ireland as a result of Ireland.
I was listening that day. I actually thought, Trav, that was a solid strategy.
Yeah, right. Where are we on this is what I need to know.
Because I dumped water on Sliwa once, and Slee could just say, hey, that was the beginning of my computer getting fried. You owe me a computer. I do.
Would you have bought it?
No, I wouldn't have given him a computer, but I would have admired the hustle. You know. But speaking of which, okay, so I was listening on my way.
With those headphones over
yeah,
there?
I just wrapped them up funny. I was listening on the way in. I got to update you guys on your softball strategy, okay?
Mace's softball strategy, yes.
Mason has to be the DH. And I'm not exaggerating this. I would say this if Mace were here. He's the most physically uncoordinated person I know. I've never, ever seen anyone as unathletic as Steve Mason.
I mean, right field is available.
There's ample evidence to
he
support
cannot
your
play
theory.
right field. Clinton.
Okay.
He will hurt himself
Got
if
it.
you put him in. You can't even make him play catcher.
Hey,
that was my suggestion.
Right.
No, you cannot put him in the field. If you go back, and all these things are on YouTube, all these things we're going to talk about.
I've seen
are on
all of
YouTube.
them, yes.
When he shattered his foot, he said, we were in studio and there were these guys on these bicycles, BMX bikes, but the regular bicycles with the pedals. And they were jumping over, like bars that were 3 feet in the air. And they were, popping their wheels and jumping over them and riding through the studio. And Mason goes, well, that's not that hard. I can jump over that bar. And I literally said, as soon as I did, I go, huge mistake.
Right.
He
goes, watch this.
Oh, he tried this on a bicycle?
Google Steve Mason breaks his foot right now.
Wow.
So we're on Fox Sports West 2. Yeah. Mason jumps over. He goes, oh, I've got Doc Martens on. He clanks into the bar immediately. He then says, I got Doc Martens on. If I take these off, I'll clear the bar easily.
What?
He then takes his Doc Martens off and he tries to jump over the bar and shatters his heel. He now has 8 screws and a plate in his foot.
As
Did
a
you find
result
it?
of that foolishness.
I'm watching it right now. I didn't know it was part of Fred and Rogan's sportscast.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, it was on everybody's sportscast because the paramedics had to come.
Oh,
He then got a blood clot and almost died. He spent 10 days in the hospital.
Deion Sanders situation. Yeah.
So then, fast forward to the charity basketball game we played a few years ago. Andy, I think you were in this game.
Oh, the mace plant is the most famous
the
thing.
fire department showed up to help him?
And it was... Ray Allen was in studio that day. He got game, was out that week. And Ray Allen and I looked at him and goes, you're fine. You just sprained your ankle. And he shattered his ankle in like 13 places.
Okay, so the mace plant is obviously the second most famous.
The mace plant is, if you watch it, I've never, ever seen anybody fall, think about this, face first forward.
When that happened,
any normal person would
put your hands down.
Put your hands down,
Right.
Put your elbow down, roll into a ball. He falls flat on his face.
Okay, but all of this notwithstanding, respectfully, why is he playing? Like, and I don't mean that in a like a mean way. I mean, like, I'm not trying to be a part
There's
of
a crowd
him
of people watching him
hurting himself again. Here's what I would take.
I will steal a line from
Andy
Mason
just won
that
the
he would
contest.
use if he was here. He would say, if there is a spotlight anywhere, I want to be in it.
Okay, I would give him a microphone.
At the expense of his
that's
own
not
health.
enough for him.
But what I'm saying is this. I mean, like, okay, so let's take it back to the old rock and jock days. The managers were mic'd up. You could hear them the whole game. And that was half of the deal. Like, first of all, I would love to do that, sidebar. That would be a really fun operation.
Rock and jock?
Rock and jock types. No, I just mean like if we did it where we're like, we got people that are talking throughout the game, like on the field and stuff, that would be fun to do.
Like when Sedano was playing pickleball while calling the game.
That, to me, is a great place for Mason that he doesn't come back out of here with another hospital bill, man.
No, well, that's why he's DHing.
Okay,
By
but
the way,
that doesn't...
if he hits the ball, he might not run.
That's what I'm saying. That's how you get hurt.
Yeah.
You trip over yourself trying to run.
So one year, there's this thing at USC, they still do it.
Now I'm worried.
Called Swim with Mike. It's a swimmer at USC years ago was paralyzed, so they do a swim meet to raise money for people with injuries, with paralysis. And so the USC song girls come out and jump in the pool. The football team swims in a race. And so they called and said, would you two race against each other, Mason against Ireland? And I thought to myself, all right, how can Mason get hurt in a race?
He could drown.
And then so Mason, of course, because that's a spotlight, says, oh, we're doing it. We're in. I'll do it. And I'm like, oh, dear God, this is not going to be good. And I'm thinking, should I tank the race? I mean, he may drown. Like he may. He goes, no. I'm going to practice. I'm going to swim. So Francisco Pinto, our Spanish language announcer, his wife Rachel is like a professional swimmer.
Okay.
So I called her and I said, Rachel, I got to be in this race. I just want you to teach me some basic,
Strokes.
Stuff. And she goes,
turns.
Yeah, literally. She taught me a kick turn. She goes, okay, and if the race is close, reach as far, she taught me how to reach super far. And so the race starts, and it's down and back in the USC Olympic
50
pool.
meters?
25 or 50?
I think it was 50. I think
Okay.
it was 25 each
It's a
way.
long swim.
Yeah. Oh, so 50 total.
We
okay.
We jump in. First of all, the thing that was awesome was Mason showed up in a Rodney Dangerfield bathing suit with the tank top and the tight shorts, and so we jump in the water, and I realized, you ever seen somebody that's just learning how to swim and they're flailing in the water but they're not moving?
Not going anywhere.
I look at Mason and it's like, oh God, he didn't practice
Does
at all.
he not know
or
how
he
to
can't,
swim?
I don't know. But so I'm so far ahead of him, Trav, in the first thing that I start doing backstroke, swimming around, and I'm looking, I go, oh God, this is going to go on all day. So I go down, I kick turn on the wall, swim back, and I pass. He's still coming this way, his first 25, when I pass him on the second 25.
So the
idea, Clinton, that you would think about putting Mason in the field at any position for any reason I can't tell you how horrible.
Right, but I honestly, and this is an honest thing, like swinging the bat is the most likely place you're going to get injured on a baseball field or on a softball field.
Then he's getting injured.
Right. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't know what you're doing, you drop yourself on a balance thing, you hit yourself with a ball. These things happen.
So you could you could hurt yourself swinging a bat if you're swinging really hard and you miss.
Right.
Right. But the idea of getting hit in the face with a ball would be worse.
Infield is out.
The infield is out.
What's that line that Chris Pratt uses in Moneyball? David Justice goes,
it's incredibly difficult.
No, but David Justice goes, hey, Hattie, what's your biggest fear? And he goes, the ball being hit in my general direction.
Right.
Yeah.
This is a sign of waiver situation.
So why not right field?
No.
Again.
Horrible idea.
I don't think so, man. This is going to be tough.
By the way, and the other team will figure out very early if you put Mason in right.
Nobody on either of these teams.
I
are
guarantee
nobody's.
There's no kind of boutique hitting like that.
Yeah.
No kind.
Let's keep context of who all of us are.
That's what I keep saying.
The idea of someone's going to put on the shift, but then they're going to counter the shift by hitting.
Right.
Like,
That's not happening. I just feel like, man, I am concerned, for lack of a better term.
So I didn't know you were going to be here today, and Trav, you're a big baseball guy. So I'm interested in all three of you how you would resolve this. I was listening to an interview with Tim Kirkchin. I brought this up on Friday.
He should be the umpire. Anyway.
And Kirkchin said the dilemma currently facing the Angels with Shohei Ohtani is the most interesting and difficult question to answer in his baseball career. This is Kirkchin, who said it
40 years?
Yeah, his entire life baseball. He said, if you're the Angels, you cannot, under any condition, trade Shohei Ohtani when he's playing like this. He's too good. If you're the Angels, you absolutely cannot let him walk away for nothing. And those are two obviously conflicting ideas. Clinton, how would you handle
Timmy and
it?
I disagree on that. The idea of walking away for nothing when they're playing this well does not
They're
add
not
up the
playing
same
this
way.
well. They're out of the playoffs right now.
Again, by playing this well, I mean people care about looking at you, and even if you're going in the wrong way, you are within a shot. What I'm saying is the product that you get still has to count for something. I don't think that you can't give him up for nothing thing is a thing if he has the most magical season we've all seen. That's what I'm saying. It sucks, and it might not be ideal, but I don't actually think those two things are as diametrically opposed as some other people think.
I want to go back to something you were talking about with the NBA a second ago, and we were talking about building team, trading for guys that are at the beginning of long-term deals because they want out. And Yates' point was, not all these guys are in this to win, right? That they're in it for other reasons, make money, put butts in seats. Fine. Is that not the question that Artie Moreno is asking himself? Because you're right. This may be the greatest baseball season ever, and he
may be the greatest baseball player ever.
He is.
You just got to.
He is.
You've got to take one or the other.
But if you just want to have the greatest season in the history, and you want that guy wearing your uniform, cool. Then you got to keep him. It's easy as that. If you're trying to build an organization to compete for World Series, you got to flip him, and they should have flipped him a year ago.
Right.
What they should have done is traded him about this time last year. They would have gotten a much bigger haul because, like John said, they've lost 4 of their last 5. They've lost like 11 of 15. They're going the wrong way.
Okay.
They're short on a lot of these things. So what is not guaranteed to happen, but most likely to happen, the deeper into the season you go, the more they fade. Then you're going to get in the middle of August and September, and they are out of it, and you are going to get nothing.
And Clinton, let me ask you this: if you were the GM, if you're Perry Manazian, the GM of the Angels, and on July 30th, you're 10 games out.
There's no player There's no 5 players. There's no 10 players that are worth the Ohtani experience if I'm counting the gate at Angel Stadium. They're just
30 games?
There just aren't.
Let me let you
There
guys
just aren't.
in.
If he's chasing a record,
Let me let you guys in on a little
What's
secret.
the record?
well, who knows?
But
what it could
my
be.
point is that you're going to chase it for another 30 home games when you're out of it. In John's scenario, at this point you're
those
out
30
of it.
games might be the
Clinton,
best
you
game
just-
you're going
you
to have
just-
in a
you just-
long
Thank you,
time.
AK.
But
That's
you
what I'm
just-
saying.
You guys just stumbled into something that fans fall victim to, and I've had this conversation with.
Not a fan of them though.
Well, but here's what you just said is factually wrong. The gate in baseball means nothing
Right.
in the big picture. It's all TV money. That's it.
That's exactly what I'm saying about the experience. You get to say you saw him play with the
But what does that
Angels.
mean?
Everybody that's wanted to see him play has seen him play.
Except for
It's not
Slee,
like
who
he's-
can't even schedule it correctly.
It's not
but
like he's coming through for 5
But
minutes.
no,
So-
but
Slee
I
was
get
so
what you're
excited.
saying. I just don't think, especially for like Artie Moreno, who has the biggest of the TV deals and did from the beginning. There's an experience.
Well, their TV deal's going up in smoke. They're,
Right,
they're
but
on
what
Bally's.
I'm saying is
whatever
that,
that is.
they've had the money. I just look, especially for a guy like Artie, who said he was going to leave, came back. Hell, this seems like the kind of guy who just says, "I want to watch him for the rest of the year," and that's why I'll keep him.
And that, what you just said, is one of the reasons why Artie Moreno is one of the worst owners in all
I
of
agree
sports.
with
That's
that.
fair, but you know,
the argument to not trade him is that they wouldn't be able to develop whatever they got coming.
Exactly.
Back anyway.
They're the Angels.
The best argument.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
The best argument to not do it is no matter who we get, we're going to blow it.
And that's kind of where I am.
So why not just have this happen for another couple of
Yeah.
months? Because no matter
That's
who we get,
100%
we
where
will
I am
blow it.
on this. Totally, completely.
That you have so little confidence in your organization to develop any prospects.
No,
that you don't want them.
No, you do want him. You have him. That's it. You have him until you don't.
It's not even the organizational argument for keeping him. It's the this is what's actually going to happen argument for keeping him. We know how the movie's going to end, so you might as well just get 30 more games.
I agree
from
with
this
that.
once in a lifetime
that they're
situation.
not going to move him, and it seems
I agree
incredibly
with you.
unlikely that
I don't
they're
think
not
they're
going
gonna.
Here's the thing,
Does
though.
it give you any hope that they might be able to keep him?
If
Or-
they turn around their actual team, then you have a chance. That's what I'm saying. We talked about this before. What if they make the World Series? Like, what if something
even
random
think that
happens and they go to the
changes
World
his
Series?
I don't know anyone in baseball, not one person, who thinks he's going to be on the Angels next year.
That's fine, but that doesn't mean that can't change. I get what you're saying, but like,
But Ohtani would have to be a real knucklehead to think that, we got hot for 2 months, therefore the organization's good. He's been
Okay.
there 6 years. He knows it's not.
again, I just feel that I also have a sort of a separate issue, not with you, John, but like,
Mostly
you know what I'm here to talk about with Shohei Ohtani? The baseball, not the non-baseball. And that's where I kind of am on this. And that's where I think the Halos kind of have a problem. You got to play this thing up till the cows come home. It's got to be the
even
biggest
at
story.
the detriment of your own team.
It's not the detriment of your own team. He is your team.
I mean, it's
Okay,
also,
so what you realize, Clinton, you've seen this movie and you know how it ends.
I don't know how it ends. I don't.
Wait a minute.
He said that, not me.
Cleveland didn't trade LeBron because they said we can't bring ourselves to trade LeBron. After I knew, a sportscaster in Los Angeles knew he was going to
But
Miami.
LeBron's from Cleveland. That's not the same thing. He also came back and won. So
Right.
like that
But I'm
movie
just
has
saying,
a sequel.
But you know every time somebody hangs on to a player that's approaching free agency, when there's no indication that player's going to stay, the team goes in the
I
trash.
think it's really important to remember, though, that if the Angels are even considering trading Ohtani, it is in their best interest to make it sound like not in a million years.
Yeah, right. And
I don't
that's
think-
a good point.
I don't
Yeah.
think enough consideration has been given to the idea of if they're going to move him.
to the posturing of it.
If
all.
you were,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I get the pokerness of it all, and you're right, that's a way to strengthen your hand. But if they were really trying to maximize their return, he'd be gone already. Because that was last year.
Yeah,
Right, but
that,
okay, but
that didn't happen.
By the way, do you guys
But
think
can't go back in time. I'm
Right,
just saying for
that's- yeah.
now, it serves them to make it sound like they will never give him up.
And meanwhile, we got Ohtani watch all over the shop. You know,
That's so. I was going back to Ohtani watch,
Yeah.
getting to the baseball, as you would say. Mason and I always talk about the ultimate stop what you're doing player. That if you walk into a bar,
Sure.
walk into a restaurant, walk into something, and you say, "Oh, there's Tiger Woods on the 18th hole of a major, and it's tied," you stop what you're doing. There's 3 minutes to go in a game, and Kobe has 68 points. Let's stop what we're doing. Is Ohtani not? And I'm going back in time now.
Yeah.
Think of any player ever, and think of any scenario. You're at home doing laundry. You're in a bar with your wife. Is Ohtani not
I got one more for
the
you.
number one stop what you're doing player ever?
I think he's number two.
Yeah, he's not even close to Barry Bonds at this point for me.
No, he is for me.
He is for me, too.
He is for me.
But Bonds is a good.
There's one other guy.
Bonds was a whole other
and
era.
not because he was going to hit 70 home runs or anything, but just you might see something you've never seen before. It's Bo Jackson.
Okay.
But Bo Jackson was the other one
yeah.
that was I don't know what he might climb the wall like Spider-Man. He might hit 500 feet. He might
Yeah,
throw
it's
a guy
good.
out from the
I was going to say
warning
with
track.
Ohtani's amazing. Like he's really, truly amazing. He's fun. But there's a part of me that feels like I've seen what he's going to do. It's just a different version of what he's done.
That's a good point.
There's no surprises with Ohtani.
Yeah.
And I would also say this, like, for baseball fans, it's stop what you're doing, John. For sports fans, there's still a level that Ohtani hasn't got to, whereas Bonds, for America, who even cared about anything related to sports, you were like,
But
yo,
part of the
this
Bonds
dude's up
phenomenon
again.
was that people hated his
That's
guts.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's it. The reasons are immaterial to me. I think Bonds is still above him on that scale, even though I personally think Ohtani's a better player.
Bo, you got to be one room or the other. Ohtani's on TV here. Bo's on TV over there. Which room are you walking into?
What sport for Bo?
Baseball.
Ohtani. Yeah. But you're right. Bo Jackson was an absolute freak.
Yeah, he's a good player. Threw out Deion Sanders.
He played in the major leagues for what, like another 4 years on one leg?
Yeah.
I mean, you
Just
forget about the
ridiculous.
whole post-hip thing where he killed it.
Again, give Mace a microphone and let him be the umpire. He'll get the spotlight for the entire game.
It's not a big enough. It's not a big enough focus on him.
He's only involved at every play.
Super Crosstalks brought to you by In-N-Out Burger. In-N-Out, it's what a hamburger is all about. We'll see you on Wednesday.